Chapter 594. The troops that the Vine Sovereign had brought to the Eastern Forest Sea were all elites. There were a total of 1,000 Void Glimpse stage spiritual puppets in his hands. All of them were refined by Wan Changkung. Nearly 50 Void Refinement Realm puppet masters of the Vine Palace were controlling 1,000 spiritual puppets. At this moment, they were working together with the 10 million life puppet realm cultivators of Mu Yi country to massacre Mu Yi. This was a calamity that could topple the entire Eastern Forest Sea. As for himself, he brought 6 Void Fragmentation Realm subordinates and 11 Void Fragmentation Realm clones of Wan Changkong to personally go to Ji Shui to take the life of the Bamboo Sovereign. My country was in chaos, and the cultivators of the Bamboo Hall were either killed or turned into living corpses, becoming accomplices of the Vine Hall. At this moment, there were only 3 Void Fragmentation Realm experts that the Bamboo Sovereign could mobilize: the Great Elder, who was at the 3rd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, the 5th Elder and 7th Elder, who were at the 1st heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. This was the best opportunity to kill the Bamboo Sovereign and destroy the Bamboo Hall. For this opportunity, the Vine Sovereign had painstakingly planned for 10,000 years. Kill! As soon as the Vine Sovereign gave the order, the 6 Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters behind her were filled with killing intent. In a flash, they split into 2 groups and attacked the 5th Elder of the Bamboo Palace. Among these 6 Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters of the Vine Palace were the big-headed Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters and the Tree Demon who had chased after Ning Fan before. Among the 6 Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Vine Palace, one of them was an expert at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, while the rest were at the 1st heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. 6 old monsters at the 1st and 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm besieging the 5th Elder, who was merely at the 1st heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Needless to say, it would not take too long for them to kill the 5th Elder and cut off one of the Bamboo Sovereign's helpers. 5th Elder, be careful. The 1st Elder and the 7th Elder saw that the 5th Elder was being besieged, and their faces were filled with shock and anger, wanting to help. At this moment, Wan Changkong's 11 Void Fragmentation Realm clones sneered coldly and surrounded the 3rd heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm Great Elder. At the same time, the 2nd Elder, the 3rd Elder, and the 4th Elder, who had been reduced to living puppets, attacked together and surrounded the 7th Elder. Why did the 3 of you betray Bamboo Hall? Give this old man a reason. The 7th Elder was filled with righteous indignation. He glared at the 3 Void Fragmentation Elders who had betrayed the Bamboo Palace. He didn't know that these 3 elders had already become Wan Changkong's slaves since a long time ago, and they only had no choice but to swing their swords at their own people. The 3 Void Fragmentation Realm living puppets naturally wouldn't care about the 7th Elder's anger. One after another, they launched their magic techniques at the 7th Elder mercilessly. 3rd Elder and 4th Elder were first demolishers, and 2nd Elder was a second demolisher. It was only a matter of time before the 3 of them worked together to kill the 7th Elder. Damn it! 3 Void Fragmentation Realm Elders had betrayed the palace. Countless cultivators of the Eastern Tree Sea had gone mad. Wan Changkong, let me ask you, all of this was because of you. 10,000 years ago, you entered my Eastern Forest Sea and slaughtered countless people. 10,000 years later, you still dare to plot against my Bamboo Hall. If I don't kill you, I'm not human. The Great Elder let out a furious roar. He made a grabbing motion with his hand, and the countless gales between heaven and earth suddenly transformed into 11 dark cyan wind dragons. They charged toward Wan Changkong's 11 clones. The 11 silver-haired old men looked at the wind dragons disdainfully. Each of their fingers were wrapped with countless thin silver threads. All of the silver-haired old men activated the silver threads at the same time. Those silver threads pierced through the sky like lightning and pierced into the bodies of all the wind dragons. All of the 11 wind dragons let out a miserable wail. At the next moment, their eyes turned blood red and they were already under Wan Changkong's control. As the silver threads were activated, all the wind dragons turned back and attacked the Great Elder. The huge dragons exploded one after another, turning into a cyan storm that soared into the sky. It was mixed with hundreds of millions of wind blades, engulfing the Great Elder in the raging wind. Chi, the magic technique backfired and the wind blades cut his body. In just an instant, the Great Elder's body was covered with cuts and bruises. He stood in the middle of the raging wind and took out a treasure banner. With a wave, the treasure banner shone with green light and the wind blades that filled the sky immediately dispersed. After that, the Great Elder stared at the 11 silver-haired old men with extreme anger and fear. Not only did Wan Changkong make the magic technique backfire on him, he even hid countless silver threads in the wind dragons that backfired. Those silver threads pierced into the Great Elder's dantian along with the wind blades, directly shattering the profound divine treasure armor that protected his primordial spirit, causing him to lose more than 10% of the primordial spirit's power in his dantian. At that instant, the Great Elder's heart was filled with an unprecedented sense of life and death. He had to use a self-harming secret technique to eliminate all the silver threads in his body. If he was a little slower, his entire primordial spirit would have been destroyed by Wan Changkong. How dangerous! This is troublesome. This Wan Changkong's divine ability is too astonishing. Moreover, my primordial spirit has already been injured. I'm afraid I'm not his match. The Great Elder, 5th Elder and 7th Elder were all in danger. If no one came to rescue them, they might die. The Bamboo Emperor clenched his fists tightly. He wished he could free himself to save the 3 elders, but he couldn't. Not far in front of him, the Vine Sovereign stood coldly, confronting him. If his clone went to rescue the 3 elders, the Vine Sovereign would immediately seize the opportunity to launch a sneak attack on him from the side. The only way to save the 3 elders was to eliminate the Vine Sovereign, who was watching from the side, in an extremely short period of time. However, this idea was too unrealistic. Even if the Bamboo Emperor was at his peak, his strength could only be on par with the Vine Sovereign. Neither of them could defeat the other. Moreover, the Bamboo Emperor had already suffered a sneak attack from the 3 life puppet elders, causing him to be severely injured. If he fought with the Vine Sovereign, his chances of winning would be extremely low. Not only would he not be able to kill the Vine Sovereign, but he would also be at a disadvantage and might even be killed by the Vine Sovereign. Vine Sovereign, destroying my bamboo palace will only weaken the strength of the tree world. What benefits does it bring to your vine palace? Don't tell me you want to be like the rain world, a lonely and tyrannical world that is pitifully weak. If you leave the Eastern Tree Sea and let my bamboo palace live, I can agree to any of your conditions. Let go of my 3 elders. They are loyal to me wholeheartedly. They shouldn't die here. After listening to the Bamboo Emperor's words, the Vine Sovereign seemed to have heard something ridiculous. She just sneered and didn't say anything. He did not negotiate with the Bamboo Emperor, nor did he take the initiative to kill him. Even though the Bamboo Emperor was injured now, he was still a ferocious tiger. His might was still lingering. Now was not the best time to kill him yet. The Vine Sovereign was waiting for Wan Changkong and the others to kill the last 3 Void Fragmentation Realm Elders of the Bamboo Palace. The Vine Sovereign was waiting for Wan Changkong's 12th clone to unseal the 4 ferocious beasts Nyeli. Then, he would bring the Tree Spirit and Nyeli to kill the Bamboo Emperor together. He did not do anything. All he did was wait while staring at the Bamboo Emperor. As long as the Bamboo Emperor made any move, he would attack him. Time passed bit by bit. Chaos broke out in Muyi country. More and more cultivators died in Jishui City. Even Jishui City below the city was dyed red by the blood of the corpses. The Great Elder was in a disadvantageous position in the battle against Wan Changkong. His injuries had become extremely serious. The 7th Elder was besieged by 3 Void Fragmentation Realm experts. He had already lost one of his legs and one of his arms. He was barely breathing and was not far from death. The 5th Elder was besieged by 6 Void Fragmentation Realm experts. He was the first one to let out a miserable shriek. After a miserable shriek, the 5th Elder was killed by the 6 Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Vine Palace. His corpse fell from the sky. 5th Elder. The Bamboo Emperor's tiger-like eyes were filled with anger. He could no longer hold back his anger. Sovereign chi surged around his body. He took a huge step forward and punched at the 6 void fragmentation realm experts of the Vine Palace who killed the 5th elder. The punch was infused with his magic power and sovereign chi, forming a 10,000 zhang large golden fist imprint. It was the furious attack of a 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm sovereign expert. When the fist imprint was launched, the flowing clouds within millions of li were reflected in pure gold. That fist imprint contained the anger that the Bamboo Emperor could not vent out. Its sharpness was unstoppable. Behind the Bamboo Emperor, a 10,000 zhang large golden shadow suddenly appeared. It was the Sovereign Shadow. The moment the Sovereign Shadow appeared, countless cracks appeared in the vast sky. Golden light flowed out from those cracks. The 6 void fragmentation realm experts of the Vine Palace who had just killed the 5th elder were suddenly attacked by the Bamboo Emperor. All of their faces were filled with fear. Each of them took out their protective magic treasures and retreated immediately. They did not dare to not retreat. They were just cultivators at the 1st or 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. How would they dare to face the wrath of a sovereign expert head-on? They retreated extremely quickly, but the momentum of that fist mark was even faster. In just an instant, it had crossed countless obstacles and turned the defensive magic treasures of the 6 void fragmentation realm experts into dust. Along the way, 2 void fragmentation realm experts died while the other 4 were severely injured. The void fragmentation realm expert of the Vine Palace, who was at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, was also one of them. You still made a move, hee. The Vine Sovereign's voice suddenly came from behind the Bamboo Sovereign. She didn't sound angry because her subordinate was killed. Instead, she sounded happy. That joy was because the Bamboo Emperor revealed a flaw when he attacked to kill the enemy. The Vine Sovereign suddenly appeared behind the Bamboo Emperor. She held a purple gold dagger axe in her hand and slashed at the Bamboo Emperor's head. The spear struck during the gap between the Bamboo Emperor's attacks, so the Bamboo Emperor had no time to dodge at all. The Bamboo Emperor only had time to turn his body slightly, and the dagger axe had already cut into his flesh. As the dagger axe slashed down, the Bamboo Emperor's right arm was chopped off. A trace of purple poison seeped into his body from the severed part of his arm. The Bamboo Emperor endured the intense pain and glared at the Vine Sovereign. After retreating a few steps, he stabilized his body. Then, he took a huge step forward and punched out with his left fist, clashing with the Vine Sovereign. Tingunnen! I won't rest until you die. The Bamboo Emperor roared in anger. One of your arms was crippled by me and you were even poisoned by this yuan-breaking dagger axe. Not only is your vitality greatly damaged, but you can forget about using the sovereign chi in your body. The current you is no longer a match for me. Today, you will definitely die in my hands. Boom, boom, boom. The collision between the Bamboo Emperor and the Vine Sovereign set off destructive waves in the vast sky. Every time they clashed, the Bamboo Emperor's injuries would worsen. However, he still wanted to fight the Vine Sovereign to the death. At the critical moment when the two of them were clashing, the 3 life puppet elders had already succeeded. They killed the 7th elder and captured his corpse. The Bamboo Emperor's eyes were blood red. He still couldn't understand why the 3 life puppet elders would betray the Bamboo Palace and kill his comrades. Why? Why did all of you betray me? They didn't betray you. Their hearts are still loyal to the Bamboo Palace. However, their bodies have no choice but to obey my orders. It's because they are my living puppets. Refine them. The 11 silver-haired old men who were fighting with the great elders sneered at the same time. After that, the 2 silver-haired old men temporarily retreated from the battle. Each of them activated their silver threads and revived the fallen 5th elder and 7th elder in front of the Bamboo Emperor. The 2 of them also became Wan Changkong's living puppets. In the vast sky, they kowtowed to the 11 silver-haired old men. The Bamboo Emperor and the Great Elder who witnessed this scene were stunned. Then they seemed to have understood something and became enraged. No wonder the Void Fragmentation Realm Elders who had served the Bamboo Palace for generations would betray the Bamboo Palace. No wonder so many cultivators of the Eastern Trees Sea would go crazy, so Wan Chong Kong actually had such a method to refine living puppets. Living puppets? Living puppets? You are a living person. I will preserve your consciousness and make you a puppet. Whether you are willing or not, you will be under my control. You are a dead person. I will restore your memory and resurrect you as a puppet. I will deprive you of the right to reincarnation and make you my slave. All the puppets in the world, including those with intelligence, are dead puppets. No matter how profound the puppetry technique is, it is impossible to resurrect a dead person as a puppet. It is also impossible to make a puppet retain the consciousness of a living person. However, in the ancient times, there was a devil race that created the living puppet technique. It was called the Dao Wang clan. The master of the Dao Wang clan was the ancestor of the Northern Heaven immortal world, the ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven. Most of the secret techniques of the Dao Wang clan, including this living puppet technique, could only be used by those who had cultivated the Dao Wang devil vein. When the members of the Dao Wang clan ignited their bloodline, they would have a chance to cultivate the Dao Wang devil vein. The chance was 1 in 10,000. Only 1 out of 10,000 people could successfully cultivate the Dao Wang devil vein. The rest would fail and die. The Dao Wang clan was too dangerous. After the ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven passed away, the clan was annihilated by a few Four Heavens experts. It was said that not a single member of the Dao Wang clan was left alive in that battle. Unexpectedly, Wan Chong Kong was able to use the living puppet technique. Then his identity was obvious: Wan Chong Kong. I didn't expect you to be a remnant of the Dao Wang clan. If anyone in the Four Heavens knows your identity, they will definitely kill you. Bamboo Emperor said furiously. Your Majesty Bamboo Emperor, you really think too highly of me. I'm not a member of the Dao Wang clan. I just swallowed a treasure by chance and accidentally cultivated the Dao Wang devil vein, which allowed me to inherit some scattered techniques. However, you have reminded me that no matter whether I'm a member of the Dao Wang clan or not, the fact that I possess the Dao Wang devil vein must not be leaked. Otherwise, it might attract the Four Heavens experts to kill me. Since I have told you about the living puppet, I won't let you live. A dead person will keep all my secrets for me. An ominous glint flashed in Wan Chong Kong's eyes. One of the 11 clones suddenly exploded and shattered into countless silver threads, piercing through the body of the great elder who had a weak aura. In the next moment, the shattered clone reformed. The eyes of the great elder who was pierced by the silver threads gradually turned hollow and turned into one of Wan Chong Kong's living puppets. Your Majesty Vine Sovereign, there's no need to wait. It won't be difficult for us to kill a dying Bamboo Emperor if we join hands. Wan Chong Kong sneered. Good. It's my great fortune to be able to join hands with the Dao Wang devil vein. Boom. When the two of them were about to join hands to kill the Bamboo Emperor, a huge military boot suddenly stomped down from the sky. Hee, you don't mind letting me interfere in this battle of killing the Bamboo Emperor, right? Boom. With a stomp, one of Wan Chong Kong's clones was destroyed. Lu Hao Yue. How dare you kill my clone? The eyes of the remaining 10 silver-haired old men turned red. Chapter 595. An unprecedented catastrophe was brewing in the entire Eastern Forest Sea. In the bamboo world, Ning Fan was also facing the crisis brought by Wan Chong Kong and the tree spirit. As Wan Chong Kong gave an order, Zhu Hong, Ling Zhu, Bai Li King, Sun Yu and all the pill refinement masters who had become living puppets fled to a golden bamboo mountain millions of li away. In the bamboo world, there were more than 70,000 black bamboo mountains scattered all over the place. Underneath the bamboo world, there was a high-grade immortal void realm grand formation that was suppressing the 4 ferocious beasts. These 70,000 black bamboo mountains were the formation eyes of the grand formation. As for the golden bamboo mountains, they were the source of formation power of all the formation eyes. Layers of medicine soul seals were placed on them. The person who was suppressing the ferocious beasts was a bamboo sovereign of the previous generation. That bamboo sovereign was not only an immortal void realm formation master but also a low-grade 7th revolution pill refinement master. He combined his pill formation techniques into one and set up a grand formation in the bamboo world to suppress the 4 ferocious beasts. In order to break the seal on the ferocious beasts, not only did the person who broke the formation have extraordinary formation techniques, but they also needed a large number of pill refinement masters to provide medicine's soul power to break the 7th revolution medicine's soul seal on the golden bamboo mountain. Only then would the formation power be exhausted. The Bailey clan was once responsible for guarding the grand formation and suppressing the ferocious beasts. Every clan leader of the clan was a famous formation master, and they knew the grand formation of the bamboo world like the back of their hands. This time, Bailey King was responsible for breaking the grand formation of the bamboo world, while Ling Zhu was responsible for protecting the formation. As for Zhu Hong, Sun Yu, and the other pill refinement masters, they were responsible for breaking the 7th revolution medicine's soul seal on the golden bamboo mountain. This time, the bamboo massacre plan was very well planned. The Vine Hall had been planning in the eastern forest sea since 10,000 years ago. Everything was going according to the script of the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong. The only thing that they missed was Ning Fan. Wan Changkong's eyes were as sharp as an eagle's. He locked his gaze on Ning Fan and licked his lips. Interesting. This is really interesting. A mere absolute void stage cultivator actually became the only unforeseen change in the bamboo massacre plan. What an interesting ant. He is obviously so weak, but he dares to anger the Vine Sovereign and kill her beloved disciple. He is obviously so weak, but he could escape from the 3 void fragmentation realm experts and even capture Teng Xianro. Everyone below the void fragmentation realm is just an ant. This young man is clearly just an ant at the absolute void realm. However, he managed to withstand a strike from his avatar and didn't get turned into a puppet. How interesting. Such an interesting junior must be toyed to death bit by bit. Only then would it be more interesting, right? One had to admit that Wan Changkong's way of thinking was extremely perverse. He believed that he had the strength to kill Ning Fan instantly. However, he insisted on toying with Ning Fan to death step by step. He controlled countless living puppets. He could have easily slaughtered Mu Yi, but he made the puppets kill each other with their friends and family. The Vine Hall was the demon, the Willow Hall was the devil, and the Bamboo Hall was the god. Due to some unforeseen events when he was young, Wan Changkong was betrayed by his closest relatives, and his personality was quite twisted. He hated the so-called righteous path. He hated sanctimonious mystic cultivators. He hated family, friendship, and love. He hated those ants who thought that hard work could change their fates. The number of people he had killed was not much lesser than Ning Fan. Moreover, the way he killed each time was extremely cruel. He did not have a strong Dao heart like Ning Fan. The reason why he killed people was not because of his obsession. Instead, he just killed them for fun. In his opinion, Ning Fan was just an ant. An ant would certainly die in the hands of an expert like him. This was the fate of an ant. A butterfly could not fly across the vast ocean. A mosquito could not shake a huge tree. A mantis could not stop a wheel of a carriage. An ant could never defeat a strong expert. In Wan Changkong's opinion, it was an extremely foolish action for Ning Fan to fight to the death despite knowing that he was no match for him. Therefore, he decided to torture Ning Fan to death step by step. Watching Ning Fan gradually give up hope and eventually despair would make him feel happy. He, ancestral bamboo tree spirit, go and kill him. However, remember to kill him bit by bit. Don't be too fast. Otherwise, it would be boring. Wan Changkong moved the silver thread between his fingers and gave an order. The ancestral bamboo tree devil, who was at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, suddenly took heavy steps and waved its tens of thousands of devil arms. All of a sudden, the vast sky around Ning Fan suddenly cracked, forming hundreds of thousands of huge void cracks. At the same time, huge meteors which were burning with green flames fell from each of the void cracks. Hundreds of thousands of meteors were falling at Ning Fan's head. That terrifying force was enough to easily kill all cultivators below the void fragmentation realm. You seem to be a little too ruthless. This young man will certainly die under this technique. Wan Changkong sneered, thinking that Ning Fan would certainly die under this attack of the tree spirit. However, just as his words fell, his eyes suddenly turned grim and his expression became extremely unpleasant. Hundreds of thousands of meteors fell one after another, burning all the trees in the bamboo world within a few million li. The sea of fire reached the sky. Huge pits were formed on the ground. The mountains and rivers were shattered and everything was devastated. Ning Fan was at the center of the attack, but he did not die under it. The meteors fell from the sky. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. He did not know what Wan Changkong and the others were planning. However, if they want to kill him, he would definitely not wait for his death without putting up a fight. He did not need to know what his enemies were planning. All he needed to know was that they were his enemies. That was enough. Ning Fan suddenly shook his cauldron ring. A pink light flashed beside him and a lady in pink robes immediately walked out. Ning Fan immediately ordered, "Row air, chop these meteors into pieces." Just as the lady in pink robes left the cauldron ring, she heard Ning Fan's order before she could quarrel with him. When she saw that the outside world was in the middle of a terrifying magic attack with meteors falling from the sky, the lady in pink robes felt her scalp go numb. Without saying a word, she immediately raised her purple vine sword and chopped 70 to 80% of the meteors in the sky. She was none other than Ting Xianro, who was teaching the female guards in the cauldron world. Wan Changkong was enraged when he saw Ting Xianro helping Ning Fan to fight against the tree devil. "Ting Xianro, you are the palace lord of my purple vine palace. How dare you help an outsider to fight against me? Are you tired of living? How dare you go against me with just your void fragmentation realm cultivation base? You are simply courting death." Ting Xianro wanted to cry, but no tears came out. She scanned the surroundings with her spirit sense and found out that not only the 3 broken tree devils were attacking them, but also Wan Changkong, who was surrounded by killing intent. "Liu Bei, how much trouble have you actually caused?" Wan Changkong's void fragmentation realm cultivation base and a 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm tree devil. There is also the chi of a void fragmentation realm cultivator and an unrivaled origin returning realm cultivator. Retreat. There are too many enemies. No matter how strong you are and with my help, you still won't be a match for them. They have Wan Changkong on their side. We can't afford to offend them. Ting Xianro said angrily. Any woman who was leisurely drinking tea in the cauldron world a moment ago would be summoned to fight against thousands of enemies in the next moment. She would not be in a good mood, even though she had pledged allegiance to Ning Fan and secretly guessed that he was a 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. She did not think that Ning Fan could defeat so many strong enemies in front of her, Wan Changkong. Among the many strong enemies in front of her, the one that Ting Xianro was most afraid of was not the tree devil who was at the void fragmentation realm but Wan Changkong. She did not know where this place was. She did not know about the Vine Sovereign's plan to slaughter the bamboo. She did not know why Ning Fan would fight against Wan Changkong and the tree devil. What she did not know even more was how many of Wan Changkong's divine clones were here. This was what she was most concerned about. She had stayed in the Vine Palace for quite a long time. She knew very well how strong Wan Changkong was. She had personally witnessed how Wan Changkong could fight the Vine Sovereign without falling into a disadvantageous position when he used all 12 of his divine clones. When she saw that Wan Changkong was among the enemies and she had drawn away all of his hatred as soon as she appeared, Ting Xianro had a bad feeling. She just wanted to leave the battlefield as soon as possible. How could she have the slightest intention to fight? Running away isn't the best plan. Ning Fan's brows were tightly knitted together. At this moment, he could hear the cries for help from the Fusang clan from time to time from the sound transmission jade in his storage pouch. The Fusang clan was in Jishui City. If not for the huge change in Jishui City, it would have been impossible for Tang Xiong and the others to send a voice transmission for help. The Fusang clan's voice transmission was only a few words, and it was impossible to describe the whole matter clearly. However, when he recalled the Vine Sovereign's actions of leaving the bamboo world in a hurry, Ning Fan was certain that something huge must have happened in the Eastern Tree Sea. In the outside world, an unprecedented calamity was descending in Jishui City. Escaping from the outside world would still be a hopeless situation. It would be better to exterminate all the enemies here before making further plans. Don't be afraid. You can block the 3 shattering Treant demon. I will kill Wan Changkong's divine avatar. Even though this person gives me an extremely dangerous feeling, there is only one divine clone. It's not impossible to kill him. Ning Fan shattered a few meteorites with a punch while comforting Teng Xianro. To Teng Xianro, Ning Fan's words were not meant to comfort her. As soon as she heard Ning Fan's words, Teng Xianro felt even more troubled. What kind of nonsense is he talking about? Asking her to destroy the 3 shattering Treant demon with a little lady who has no strength to even truss a chicken? Is he crazy? She did not dare to fight against Wan Changkong's divine avatar because she was afraid of his fierce reputation. Of course, she also did not dare to fight against the 3 shattering Treant demon. The difference between 1 shattering Treant demon and 3 shattering Treant demon was huge. Besides, she was not the kind of genius who could kill enemies who were at a higher level than her. Even though she was a void fragmentation realm old monster, her cultivation base was only at the 1st heavenly layer. In front of experts like Wan Changkong and the 3 shattering Treant demon, she was nothing. He asked her not to be afraid. How could she not be afraid? Don't worry. I will ask them to help you fight against the ancestral bamboo tree devil together. Ji Hua, purple lightning, call wind, Qing Shuang, landslide, appear. Ning Fan suddenly patted his storage pouch and took out 5 clay figurines. The 5 clay figurines grew in the wind and instantly turned into 5 10,000 zhang tall giants which were red, purple, green, blue and yellow. These 5 10,000 zhang tall giants were all heavenly tribulation puppets with 1 shattering Treant demon cultivation base. Teng Xianro had already seen these puppets once when she personally helped Ning Fan capture them. Thus, she was not too surprised to see these 5 puppets again. However, Wan Changkong's eyes flashed with a hint of astonishment. Heavenly tribulation puppets? They are actually void fragmentation realm puppets. His astonishment instantly turned into greed. Even though he also had void fragmentation realm living puppets, there were no void fragmentation realm puppets among them. He could use the Morning Death secret technique to refine void fragmentation realm living puppets, but his puppetry technique was still not enough to refine real void fragmentation realm dead puppets. Wan Changkong did not think about how Ning Fan obtained these heavenly tribulation puppets. Currently, he only had one thought in his mind: to kill Ning Fan and take away his puppets. Morning Death technique, living puppet. He waved his hand and countless silver threads appeared out of thin air, flying towards the 5 heavenly tribulation puppets. His living puppet technique could not only refine living and dead people into living puppets but also easily take away other people's puppets. This technique was always successful. Wan Changkong's divine avatar had the cultivation base of the 1st heavenly layer. He was confident that he could directly subdue the 5 puppets. However, as soon as the silver threads pierced into the puppets, the black crescent moons on their bodies flashed at the same time. All of a sudden, all the silver threads that pierced into the puppets were burned into ashes by the black moon marks. That's... When Wan Changkong saw the flashing black moon marks, he felt fear from the bottom of his heart for the first time in his life. When he was young, he was once a puppet master with mediocre aptitude. If it wasn't because he accidentally swallowed a treasure and awakened the Morning Death devil veins by chance and obtained a few types of secret techniques of the Morning Death clan, he would certainly be mediocre for the rest of his life. He would never have the title of Puppet Sovereign today. In the inheritance of the Morning Death clan that he obtained, it mentioned how terrifying this black moon was. The ability of this black moon was the highest secret technique of the Morning Death clan. It was a secret technique that only the ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven could use. The reason why the Morning Death clan was so powerful was because of their powerful secret techniques, such as the living puppet technique. They could turn their enemies into puppets for their own use. However, no matter how powerful the puppet technique of the Morning Death clan was, they would still be suppressed by the ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven. The ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven had a technique that used the black moon as a seal to make all the puppets in the billions of worlds submit to him. No matter how powerful a puppet master is, he or she would only be defeated when facing the ancestral emperor of the northern heaven. In the inheritance that Wan Changkong obtained, there was a saying that had been passed down in the world. There is no solution to the morning death puppet technique in this world. If you encounter the black moon, you will be destroyed if you go against it. Wan Changkong did not know what kind of ability the black moon referred to. However, at this moment, when he saw the black moon above the 5 puppets, he could not muster up the courage to fight against Ning Fan at all. He felt that the great Tao of puppets that he had cultivated in his entire life was about to crumble under the black moon. His mournful death devil veins, his puppet blood, everything about him seemed to be buried under the black crescent moon. His divine clone was also refined according to the secret technique of the Morning Death clan. This divine clone nearly collapsed under the black moon. It was too dangerous. This black moon was too dangerous. To Wan Changkong, it was simply an existence that was like his nemesis. At this moment, Wan Changkong did not dare to fight against the 5 puppets recklessly. At this moment, even though Ning Fan was just an absolute void stage cultivator, Wan Changkong felt that Ning Fan was even more dangerous than a tree devil at the 3rd break realm. It was all because his greatest reliance in his life was his puppet technique. However, his puppet technique seemed to be worthless in front of the black moon. Wan Changkong suddenly patted his storage pouch and took out a golden jade slip. The jade slip recorded a sealing technique of the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was a life-saving item that the Vine Sovereign gave him in order to recruit him. A sealing technique of such a level could even seal experts at the Bamboo Sovereign's level for a long time. At this moment, Wan Changkong did not hesitate at all. He directly used this life-saving item and crushed the golden jade slip. Trap! At the moment the golden jade slip was crushed, a massive golden vortex suddenly appeared on the ground. Golden light shone brightly and spread to the area within 10 million li of the bamboo world. That vortex produced a strong suction force, sucking Ning Fan, the 5 puppets and Vine Shenro into it. That suction force sealed all the cultivators within the bamboo world indiscriminately. Even the 3 broken tree devils were sucked into the vortex. Bai Li King, Zhu Hong and many other cultivators were also sucked into the vortex. In an instant, Wan Changkong was the only one in the entire bamboo world who was safe and sound. Since he was the one who cast the technique, he would not be sealed by the vortex. As for everyone who was sucked into the golden vortex, they were temporarily sealed inside the magic space. After sealing Ning Fan, Wan Changkong realized that his entire body was drenched in cold sweat. He was not afraid of Ning Fan. What he was most afraid of was the Black Crescent Moon divine ability. After sealing Ning Fan and the others, Wan Changkong looked at the empty bamboo world and gradually calmed his mind. That Black Moon divine ability gave me a feeling that it was too dangerous. Thus, I could only use this method to temporarily seal Liu Bei and the others. I'm afraid it will be dangerous if we face this young man head-on. It's definitely necessary to seal Liu Bei. Since I have the mournful death devil vein in my body, I'm afraid I'm naturally restrained by that black moon. However, the troublesome thing is that Bai Li King, Zhu Hong and the others are also sealed by me. They are the key figures in unsealing the ferocious beasts this time. Without them, it will be much more difficult to break the grand formation. Forget it. Fortunately, I still have a lot of living puppets with me. There are also some high-grade formation masters and pill refinement masters among them. Hopefully, I can unseal the ferocious beasts with their strength. While Liu Bei is being sealed, I will unseal the ferocious beasts in the bamboo world. Among the 4 ferocious beasts that are sealed in this place, the one with the lowest cultivation base is at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, while the one with the highest cultivation base is at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. If I unseal the 4 ferocious beasts, no matter how terrifying Liu Bei's Black Moon divine ability is, I won't be afraid. At that time, I can borrow the strength of the 4 ferocious beasts to kill Liu Bei and avoid a confrontation with this young man. Other than the strange Black Moon technique, Liu Bei is not worth mentioning at all. Wan Changkong's traveling light flashed continuously and arrived at the golden bamboo mountain. He patted his puppet pouch and released more than 50 divine transformation realm and void refinement realm living puppets. Among these living puppets, some of them were formation masters. As for the rest, there were 2 6th Revolution Pill Masters and 18 5th Revolution Pill Masters. I order all of you to break the grand formation of this place at all costs. If you can't do it, I have plenty of ways to make you wish you were dead. Wan Changkong threatened the group of living puppets. In the golden world, Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. He was actually trapped in this golden world. Beside him, there was the 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm ancestral bamboo tree devil. Roar! After letting out a devil roar, the tree devil charged towards Ning Fan and the others as if it had gone mad. Chapter 596. It was a pure golden magical space. In this barren space, golden continents were floating in the air. Ning Fan, Ting Xianrou and the heavenly tribulation puppets were sealed inside this world. The tree devil, Bai Li King and the others were also affected by the sealing technique and were sealed inside this space. Ning Fan and the others were standing on one of the countless floating continents. This place was filled with densely packed golden ancient vines. When Ning Fan walked onto this golden continent, the golden vines immediately wriggled strangely and tried to bind his feet. Incinerate! Ning Fan took a step forward and a black sea of flames extended from his feet, burning all the golden vines within 10,000 zhang into ashes. When he scanned this golden world with his spirit sense, his eyes turned grim. When he looked at the ancestral bamboo tree devil that was roaring furiously, his eyes became even more solemn. This pure golden world was a magical space formed by a sealing technique. It could seal all the cultivators who were sucked into the golden vortex inside this world. This sealing technique had the power of the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Even an ordinary void fragmentation realm cultivator would find it hard to break this golden world and escape. Ning Fan's wind mist technique was enough to break this world, but it would take him at least a few hours to make a hole in this world. During these few hours, Ning Fan had to focus all his attention on using the wind mist technique. He could not split his attention to engage in combat. Inside this world, there were still powerful enemies like the tree devil waiting for him. They would not let Ning Fan break this world and escape. Roar! The ancestral bamboo tree devil's roar soared into the sky. It charged at Ning Fan and the others with killing intent. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. He said to Ting Xianrou and the 5 puppets, "The 6 of you will stop the tree devil. I will deal with the others." Even though the 5 puppets only had the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, they belonged to the 5 elements. Each of them controlled the heavenly tribulation of one element. When they attacked together, they could even defeat a cultivator at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. With the 5 puppets and Ting Xianrou, it was not difficult for the 6 of them to stop the tree devil for some time. Ting Xianrou gritted her teeth and decided to follow Ning Fan's order. In a flash, she and the 5 puppets worked together to stop the rampaging tree devil. As for Ning Fan, his figure flashed and disappeared from where he was. When he reappeared, he was already 10,000 zhang away from Bai Li King and Zhu Hong. At this moment, Ning Fan's mind was spinning rapidly. He had already figured out many things. Why did Bai Li King send out unreasonable war invitations again and again? Why did none of the people of Bai Li clan have primordial spirits? Why did Sun Yu show deference to Wan Changkong, and why did so many 5th Revolution and 6th Revolution Pill Masters submit to Wan Changkong in an instant? Why did he feel a great sense of danger when facing Wan Changkong? Because Wan Changkong possessed the mournful death devil vein, he had refined Bai Li King, Sun Yu, and many other alchemists into life puppets. With the passage of time, Ning Fan was no longer the young man who knew nothing about cultivation in the past. He had heard many secrets about the North Heaven Ancestral Emperor and the Dao Wang race from Luoyu. When Ning Fan witnessed Wan Changkong activating the Silver Thread's secret technique with his own eyes, he was already somewhat certain that the silver threads that Wan Changkong used were the life puppet technique of the Mournful Death Clan. Wan Changkong's demonic vein was undoubtedly the mournful death demonic vein. That Wan Changkong is definitely the possessor of the mournful death devil vein. His abilities are extremely dangerous. With your current absolute void stage cultivation base, you must be careful if you fight against him. If you lose focus for a moment, you might be directly refined into a life puppet by him. Other than Zhu Hong, everyone here including the tree devil has already been refined into life puppets by Wan Changkong. The reason why the life puppet technique of the Mournful Death clan is so terrifying is that if it can perfectly refine a life puppet, the cultivator who is refined into a life puppet will be no different from a living person. It's very difficult for you to determine whether the person beside you is a living person or a puppet. On the battlefield, it's impossible to distinguish between a life puppet and an enemy. However, the life puppets that Wan Changkong refined have some flaws. The life puppets that he refined don't have primordial spirits or demon souls. From this point of view, Wan Changkong certainly hasn't mastered the life puppet technique perfectly. Luo Yu's voice carried some concern as she reminded Ning Fan in his mind. I see. Ning Fan nodded and scanned Ling Zhu, Bai Li King and the others with his spirit sense. Among this group of people, other than Zhu Hong who had a primordial spirit, none of them had primordial spirits or demon souls. Even though they were divine transformation realm and void refinement realm cultivators, they did not have primordial spirits or demon souls in their bodies. Needless to say, these people were naturally the life puppets that Wan Changkong refined. If it's a perfect and flawless life puppet, it would not have this flaw. Wan Changkong's life puppet technique was not perfect. With this flaw, Ning Fan could determine whether a cultivator was a life puppet refined by Wan Changkong based on whether they had primordial spirits or demon souls in their bodies. I once taught you the life imprisoning technique. I found this technique by chance. It's the strongest ability of the Mournful Death clan's ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven. Unfortunately, what I found is just an incomplete technique. If it's a complete technique, I can make all the life puppets of the Mournful Death clan submit to me with just a glance. You haven't learned the complete technique. You can subdue spiritual puppets at the first step of Tao cultivation with this technique, but you can't subdue these life puppets. These life puppets still retain the consciousness of a living human, but their bodies are not under their control. Once they are refined into life puppets, they will lose the right to enter samsara forever. It's a sin for them to be alive. As long as they obey the order of the puppet lord, they must be killed even if they are their closest kin. If they die, they will turn into ashes. However, this is also a kind of release for them. Luo Yu spoke again. Release? Ning Fan recalled Bai Li King's strange actions and sighed softly. Bai Li King was Wan Changkong's life puppet. The reason why he sent people to assassinate Ning Fan time and time again was probably because he was ordered by the Vine Palace. Since he could not resist Wan Changkong, he had no choice but to send his people to assassinate Ning Fan. Even though he could not disobey Wan Changkong's order, he purposely sent his people who were not strong enough to die. This was just to free his people who had become life puppets. At the same time, it was also to remind Ning Fan to be careful of the Vine Palace. When Bai Li King sent the fourth battle invitation, he hoped to have a life and death battle with Ning Fan. What he wanted was not to kill Ning Fan but to be killed by him. He also reminded Ning Fan that there would be a great calamity today. The reason why Bai Li King reminded Ning Fan was not because he had any friendship with Ning Fan. It was just because Ning Fan was a great enemy of the Vine Palace that he had a good impression of Ning Fan and was looking forward to it. Bai Li King was looking forward to being killed by Ning Fan. He was looking forward to Ning Fan freeing him. Even if his soul would be destroyed, Bai Li King was not willing to be a life puppet anymore and be manipulated by others. That Ling Zhu, Bai Li King, Sun Yu and all the pill refinement masters except for Zhu Hong stared at Ning Fan coldly with killing intent in their eyes. Their expressions were filled with killing intent because they had received Wan Changkong's order to kill Ning Fan no matter what. However, their hearts were filled with pleading. They were begging Ning Fan to kill them and free them. Ning Fan seemed to be able to hear the deepest pleas of Bai Li King and the others. Kill me. Set me free. Kill Wan Changkong. Take revenge for us. Ning Fan's heart that had always been cold was touched at this moment. He could understand the sorrow of these people who had become life puppets. He could feel their endless resentment towards Wan Changkong. In the deepest part of his heart, there seemed to be something that was subtly changing. His principle of life was mostly selfish. However, at this moment, he had an urge to free these people who had become life puppets without asking for any price. That was the feeling of a fox grieving for the death of a rabbit. Today, all of you have become life puppets and yearn for freedom from death. I will set you free and cremate your corpses. In the future, if I die in a foreign land and my corpse is left to rot in the wilderness, I hope there will be someone who will bury my corpse for me and set me free from my sufferings. We don't have any friendship nor grudges. However, today I will send you to your death with my sword. Ning Fan took a step forward and turned into his black robes. He raised his hand and grabbed at the golden continent and the vast sky. Then he sucked in all the souls of the earth and the void and swallowed them. The shadow of a golden dragon coiled around his body and his sovereign chi was added to his body. His aura force rose all the way until it reached the unrivaled returning origin realm. At the moment when Ning Fan's aura force rose, Ling Zhu, Bai Li King, Sun Yu and all the other cultivators who had become life puppets surrounded Ning Fan. Zhu Hong was the only one who did not dare to step forward. At this moment, Ning Fan gave him a feeling that he was unreachable. At this moment, Ning Fan did not care about good or evil, gratitude or grudges. All he cared about was samsara. Today, I will help all of you resolve your misfortune. In the future, there will be someone who will help me resolve my misfortune. This was the feeling of sending you to your death. It contained the meaning of samsara. Freeze. Ning Fan pointed his finger and displayed the heaven freezing technique. With his unrivaled origin returning realm cultivation base, the destructive power of this technique was boundless. Even Ling Zhu, who was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, was frozen in the sky for a moment. As for the unrivaled origin returning realm by Li King, he was frozen for half a breath's time. As for Sun Yu and the other divine transformation realm and void refinement realm pill refinement masters, their cultivation bases were much weaker than Ning Fan's. All of them were frozen in the sky and could not move at all. Sun Yu, you and I only have a simple friendship. Today, I will send you to your death to resolve your misfortune. Fellow pill refinement masters, I have never been friends with you. However, today I will send you to your death. Qi Ning Fan suddenly clasped his hands together. From where he stood, the space within 800,000 li collapsed. In the boundless dark void, countless minor void swords pierced out like locusts, killing all 25 5th Revolution and 6th Revolution pill masters including Sun Yu. This was the first time Ning Fan did not kill for revenge. The 25 pill refinement masters were cut into minced meat by the countless small void swords. At the moment when their puppets were destroyed, everyone's eyes were filled with relief and they looked at Ning Fan gratefully. At the next moment, Sun Yu and the others had their souls dispersed and their Tao vanished. Ning Fan took a step forward and black flames suddenly appeared in the sky, incinerating the corpses of the 25 pill refinement masters into ashes. His eyes swept across Ling Zhu and Bai Li King. The heaven freezing technique that they were suffering from was broken one after another. Kill! Ling Zhu took out his golden horsetail whisk. With a sweep of the horsetail whisk, golden rays of light immediately swept towards Ning Fan. Bai Li King took out his millstone magic treasure. After the millstone was tossed into the sky, it grew larger with the wind until it was half the size of the sky. Then, it pressed down on Ning Fan's head. The two of them had used all their killing moves against Ning Fan. However, what they were thinking in their hearts was to be killed by Ning Fan so that they could be freed. Ling Zhu, you claimed to be a cultivator of the profound gate and you were once hostile towards me. Since you are now a living being, I will not hold a grudge against you for what happened in the past. Today, I will show you mercy and help you to be freed. Bai Li King, even though you have sent people to kill me many times, your intentions are not evil. Moreover, you have reminded me of today's calamity. Because of this karma, I will help you fulfill your wish today and send you to your death. Void Ignition Realm. A gigantic black fire diagram suddenly appeared in the sky. It extended from Ningfan's feet to 800,000 li. Black flames filled the sky. Millions of black flame butterflies soared into the sky from the fire diagram and condensed into a gigantic black butterfly with a pair of wings that covered the sky. At the moment when the black butterfly appeared, Ling Zhu and Bai Li King were filled with astonishment from the bottom of their hearts. As for Zhu Hong, who was hiding at the side, he was so frightened that he almost fell to the ground. He was the second elder of the Fire Tree clan of the West Forest Sea. He was quite proficient in fire element magic techniques. However, he had never seen a fire technique with such terrifying power like the Void Ignition technique of the butterfly flame. The power of the void fire contained in this fire technique was comparable to the total power of all the flames in the entire Zhu Rong spring. What level of fire technique is this? At this moment, the gigantic black flame butterfly flapped its wings for the first time. As soon as the smoke dispersed, all the golden vines on the golden continent turned into ashes. Ling Zhu and Bai Li King's horsetail whisk and millstone were struck by the butterfly flame. They were sent flying backwards and their power was greatly reduced. As for Ling Zhu and Bai Li King, they were forced to retreat after being struck by the butterfly flame. Their injuries were not light. Chapter 597. With a flap of the butterfly flame, everything turned into ashes. Ling Zhu was a void fragmentation realm old monster while Bai Li King was also a peerless expert. However, both of them were injured by the void ignition technique. Both of Ningfan's eyes were burning with black flames. The power of the void ignition technique he displayed today was at least 30% stronger than before. The reason why this technique could burn the void was because the user had an obsession in his heart. He would use his obsession to melt the flames, use the flames to burn the wings, and use the wings to burn the heavens. The stronger the obsession, the more powerful the void flames of this technique would be. The more desperate the situation was, the more compatible the mental state would be with this technique. The butterfly flame wings would fight to the death to shake the heavens. It would not regret even if it died 100 times and would never retreat from 100 battles. At this moment, Ningfan was first trapped in this world by Wan Changkong. Then, his mental state was touched by the encounters of Sun Yu and the others. At the moment when he displayed the butterfly flame technique, his heart was also burning with the flames of obsession. That obsession was to send all the living beings to death to be free. That obsession was to break the seal of this world and fight against Wan Changkong. He wanted to fight for Sun Yu, Bai Li, and the other living beings. He wanted to take revenge for the members of the Ming Luo clan who died in Wan Changkong's hands 10,000 years ago. Void Ignition Technique. Ningfan made a series of hand seals. The giant butterfly in the sky spread its fiery wings and aimed at Ling Zhu and Bai Li King. It flapped its wings for the second time, the third time and the fourth time. Above its head, black smoke instantly spread to the entire sky, burning the clouds, wind, and everything in the void into ashes. The power of the butterfly flame was enough to instantly kill a grand void origin cultivator. As the smoke engulfed him, Ling Zhu's hollow eyes were filled with surprise. His body swayed and turned into a gigantic golden bamboo that was 10,000 zhang tall. The defense of the original form of the giant bamboo was heaven-defying. It was Ling Zhu's strongest defensive ability. It could even withstand a void fragmentation realm attack from a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert without a scratch. However, as soon as the smoke arrived, the giant bamboo was immediately set ablaze with towering black flames. In just an instant, it was burned into ashes by the black flames. After his original form was destroyed, Ling Zhu returned to his human form. He let out a muffled groan and coughed out blood in the sky while retreating continuously. He was a dignified first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. Even after displaying his strongest defensive technique, he was still severely injured by the void ignition technique. Ling Zhu was already heavily injured by the void ignition technique, so the Bai Li King was in an even worse state. As the flames engulfed him, The Bai Li King immediately felt a sense of impending doom. His body instinctively moved, and he slapped the top of his head, summoning the silhouettes of 7 blood-red tigers. Each of the blood tigers had the cultivation base of the absolute virtual realm. All 7 of them shook their bodies and shattered, turning into 7 layers of blood-red light that stretched for 100 miles, protecting the Bai Li King within. The defense of the blood cloud was quite extraordinary. Even if it withstood the combined attacks of 7 Guiyuan Taishu realm experts, it would not be broken. However, as soon as the smoke arrived, the 7 layers of blood clouds were all ignited by the black flames and burned into nothingness. After the 7 layers of defense were broken, the smoke of fire swept towards the Bai Li King, and the Bai Li King's body was suddenly engulfed in layers of black flames. At the moment of certain death, the Bai Li King's body soared up into the clouds, and with a shake of his body he transformed into a huge blood-red tiger that was 10,000 feet tall. The body of the giant tiger was originally covered with almost enchanting blood-red runes, but at this moment, those blood-red runes were burned into nothingness by the void ignition fire. As the runes disappeared, the giant tiger let out a painful roar. Then, its body turned into ashes and disappeared. When the ashes dispersed, the Bai Li King, who was burnt to a crisp, reappeared in the vast sky. He clutched his chest and half knelt on the clouds in the sky. He was on the brink of death. He was just a step away from losing his life to the void ignition technique. Ling Zhu and the Bai Li King were severely injured by Ning Fan. Their expressions were as gloomy as still water, but deep down, they were overjoyed. They were looking forward to being killed by Ning Fan. They were looking forward to freeing themselves from this living puppet. Kill me. The Bai Li King's face revealed an extremely painful expression. He was a living puppet. He longed for freedom. He was not willing to be controlled by Wan Chunk. He would rather die. Ning Fan did not say much. His black robes suddenly dispersed into countless black shadows. The moment the void ignition butterfly disappeared, the black shadows that filled the sky immediately swept towards the dying Bai Li King. His physical body was minced into pieces by the layers of black shadows. His life force was fading away bit by bit. However, his eyes were filled with relief. "Thank you." Bang! The next moment, the Bai Li King was minced into pieces by the layers of black shadows and died under the Black Tempest's soul-splitting technique. Rest in peace. The black shadows condensed again. Ning Fan, who was clad in black robes, appeared in the sky. Currently, he had used the void ignition technique and the Black Tempest soul-splitting technique consecutively. He did not have much magic power left. 10,000 zhang away, Ling Zhu was holding a golden horsetail whisk. His face was pale and his injuries were extremely severe. Ling Zhu uttered those few words with great difficulty. His body turned into a ray of light and rushed towards Ning Fan with intense killing intent. He was an old monster at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Even though he was severely injured by the void ignition technique, he still had the strength to make void refinement realm cultivators feel helpless. While he was flying, he raised his horsetail whisk and swung it at Ning Fan's head, causing golden rays of light to fill the sky. Currently, Ning Fan did not have much magic power left. It was difficult for him to cast magic techniques that were too powerful. He patted his storage pouch and took out the Tower of Freezing Rain. He wanted to use the power of his magic treasure to fight against Ling Zhu. Rings of silver raindrops reverberated in the sky, forming a massive silver ring. Within the ring, countless rain arrows soared into the sky and collided with the golden rays of light that filled the sky. Boom! The golden rays of light dispersed and the rain arrows were destroyed. This time, the result of the collision was a draw. Ling Zhu suddenly stopped moving. He opened his mouth and breathed out a golden thunderbolt. Immediately, the sky was filled with flashes of lightning. That golden thunderbolt had an unstoppable sharpness. It could travel 1,000,000 li within a breath. The vast sky was split apart by that extremely dazzling golden thunderbolt. The attack was too fast. Ning Fan had just kept the Tower of Freezing Rain and was unable to dodge it in time. The golden thunderbolt had already struck his body. That golden thunderbolt flowed wantonly inside his body, destroying his dantian, internal organs, immortal veins and sea of consciousness. In just an instant, Ning Fan was already severely injured. The 3 blood stars on his glabella began to shine. Suddenly, a massive blood-red lightning diagram appeared beneath his feet. Refine. The lightning diagram was activated. The golden thunderbolt that went into Ning Fan's body immediately began to melt and disintegrate. It turned into traces of golden lightning power and flowed out of Ning Fan's body, getting devoured by the lightning diagram. Even though Ning Fan was injured by the thunderbolt, his magic power had recovered a lot after devouring it. Seeing that Ning Fan had blocked the golden thunderbolt, Ling Zhu once again took out his horsetail whisk and swung it at Ning Fan's head. This time, Ning Fan did not dodge or evade. He circulated his mountain-pulling force and raised his palm to the sky. A 10,000 zhang tall fire steel appeared on his palm. After a few exchanges, Ling Zhu's injuries were already extremely severe. Even his qi was beginning to weaken. On the other hand, even though Ning Fan was also injured, his injuries were recovering rapidly under the treatment of the Black Star technique. He suddenly threw the fire steel. It rose into the sky and shone with the light of the sun and moon, shattering the golden light of Ling Zhu's horsetail whisk. Ning Fan lifted his finger and pointed at the steel. It flashed and vanished without a trace. At the next moment, it directly appeared above Ling Zhu's head. The shadow of the steel divided into 10 and then into 100. In an instant, it turned into 50 gigantic blazing suns and cold moons. All of the suns and moons fell towards Ling Zhu as if it was the end of the world. First spirit steel technique, sun sinking moon falling. Boom boom boom, the blazing suns and cold moons exploded, setting off waves of destructive qi. Ling Zhu was already an arrow at the end of its flight. After being hit by the steel, he coughed out blood and fell from the sky, out of the attack range of the shadows of the sun and moon. Kill me. Ling Zhu struggled to stabilize his body and begged once again. At this moment, he could no longer mobilize any magic power in his body. He could not even move half a step. It was the best time for him to be killed. Without needing Ling Zhu's reminder, Ning Fan had already appeared 10,000 zhang away from Ling Zhu in a flash. He summoned the white tiger gauntlet on his right arm and took a huge step forward. He threw a punch from 10,000 zhang away. His body followed behind the white tiger fist light and turned into a ray of light, crashing towards Ling Zhu. Before the fist light got close to Ling Zhu, Ning Fan threw a second punch. The force behind the punch combined into one and the 2 punches landed on Ling Zhu's chest. Boom! When the fist light landed on Ling Zhu's body, the rebounding force directly sent Ning Fan flying away. Fresh blood flowed out from the bones of his fist. As for Ling Zhu, who was at the end of his flight, his chest caved in after being punched twice by Ning Fan's profound spirit equipment. His immortal veins were all broken and his magic power had already dissipated. His physical body was like a withered tree, withering little by little and growing old. His skin turned into tree bark and eventually peeled off piece by piece. Thank you, Ling Zhu let out a sigh with mixed feelings. Before he died, he cupped his fists and bowed to Ning Fan. He had been stubborn in the righteous path of the profound sex all his life. He hated devil cultivators the most and had never bowed to any devil cultivator. Ning Fan was the only devil cultivator whom he was grateful to in his entire life. Have a good journey. Ning Fan kept the profound spirit gauntlet into his body and cupped his fists to return Ling Zhu's greeting. At the next moment, Ling Zhu's physical body was destroyed, turning into ashes and disappearing in the vast sky. A void fragmentation realm expert died in Ning Fan's hands just like that. From now on, Ning Fan had killed Ling Zhu, Bai Li King, Sun Yu and the others with his own strength. Ling Zhu was the first void fragmentation realm expert that Ning Fan had killed with his own strength. This was fundamentally different from killing Bone Sovereign. The reason why Bone Sovereign died in Ning Fan's hands was because his injuries were too severe, which caused his cultivation base to fall to the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan consumed a few pills and his cold eyes stared at the last person in the sky, the chief pill refinement master of the Vine Palace, Zhu Hong. This person was not a living puppet. He was the subordinate of the Vine Sovereign. Thus, he could be considered as Ning Fan's real enemy. When Ning Fan's gaze landed on him, Zhu Hong's face immediately turned pale. He was just a void inquiry stage cultivator. After witnessing how Ning Fan killed Ling Zhu and Bai Li King with his own eyes, he knew that he was definitely not Ning Fan's opponent. He looked at the ancestral bamboo tree devil in the distance. From his point of view, the tree devil was the only one who could save him in this golden world. In a flash, Zhu Hong tried to fly in the direction of the tree devil. However, Ning Fan simply pointed a finger at him and stopped him in midair. You are not a living puppet. Therefore, I should be able to search your soul and obtain some information from your memories. Ning Fan flashed and appeared in front of Zhu Hong indifferently. He ignored Zhu Hong's horrified expression and directly placed his palm on his head. How dare you! I am the chief pill refinement master of the Vine Palace and the most valued subordinate of the Vine Sovereign. If you dare to search my soul, the Vine Sovereign will certainly not let you go. Before Zhu Hong could finish his words, he let out a blood-curdling scream and fainted. Ning Fan did not show any mercy to Zhu Hong. He directly searched his soul and memories. After that, he raised his finger and pointed at Zhu Hong and killed him with a ray of void sword light. From Zhu Hong's memories, Ning Fan learned a lot of secrets of the Vine Palace. He also learned about the Vine Sovereign's entire plan to destroy the Bamboo Palace. Only then did he know that Wan Changkong and the others did not come to the Eastern Forest Sea to hunt him down. Instead, they had been plotting against the Bamboo Palace for a long time. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the battlefield in the distance. The tree devil whose cultivation base was at the third stage of the destruction realm was fighting against Ting Xianro and the heavenly tribulation puppet. The ancestral bamboo tree devil had already become one of Wan Changkong's living puppets. There was no possibility of it recovering. Even though the Bamboo Sovereign asked Ning Fan to heal the ancestral bamboo, it was obvious that there was no medicine that could cure it. The ancestral bamboo who had become a living puppet was also living a life worse than death. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. There was no medicine that could cure this ancestral bamboo. The only way to free it was to kill it. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, even if he uses the Void Ignition Butterfly Flame technique, it would not be enough to kill the ancestral bamboo tree devil who was at the third stage of the destruction realm. With the cultivation base of Ting Xianro, the heavenly tribulation puppet and the others, it was still possible for them to restrain the ancestral bamboo tree devil. However, it would be extremely difficult for them to kill it. If I borrow the power of the 5 sword spirits and use Emperor Xia's sword, I might have some confidence in killing the ancestral bamboo. However, with my current cultivation base, my magic power will certainly be depleted after I make a single slash and I will need a long time to recover. Now, I can only rely on the might of Emperor Xia's sword to kill the ancestral bamboo tree spirit. Ning Fan placed his palm on his sword pouch, about to summon the 5 sword spirits and Emperor Xia's sword. At this moment, a bloodthirsty roar resounded from the bamboo world, forcefully entering the golden world that was created by the sealing technique. That roar was filled with the joy of breaking free. It was made by a third heavenly layer void fragmentation realm evil beast. In the bamboo world, Wan Changkong had already successfully broken a hole in the grand formation of the bamboo world and unsealed the first ferocious beast, the evil beast. This evil beast seemed to have sensed the presence of members of the Fu Li clan nearby. Its roar revealed endless hostility. It was an evil beast that was the enemy of the Fu Li clan. The roar of this evil beast was different from the sorrowful cry that Ning Fan heard in the past. The roar of the first evil beast was unusually sharp. It spread from the bamboo world to the entire 1 billion li of Mu Yi country. When the roar reached the sky above Ji Shui, the Vine Sovereign and the experts of the Vine Palace were overjoyed. As for Lu Sovereign and Bamboo Sovereign, their faces immediately turned pale. The Bamboo Sovereign, in particular, had already guessed that a huge change had happened in the bamboo world from the roar. His eyes were filled with shock and anger. The ferocious beasts that were suppressed in the bamboo world have actually broken free. Good. This old man's avatar has successfully unsealed the first Sinli. When all 4 evil beasts are unsealed, it will be the time when you, the Bamboo and Lu sovereigns, die. The remaining 10 clones of Wan Changkong all raised their heads and laughed heartily. Their expressions were extremely complacent. Lu Haoyue's appearance was beyond the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong's expectations. However, with the help of the evil beast, even if Lu Haoyue was here, he would not be able to go against the Vine Palace. Now that the evil beast has emerged, no one can save the Bamboo Hall. The Vine Sovereign sneered. Chapter 598. After the Vine Sovereign finished laughing, she gave the Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Vine Palace beside her a look. The remaining 4 Void Refinement Realm experts of the Vine Palace and the 2nd, 3rd and 4th elders of the Bamboo Palace who had been reduced to living puppets took a step forward at the same time. Together with Wan Changkong's 10 clones, they surrounded the Bamboo Sovereign who had lost an arm. Wan Changkong and the others had a total of 17 Void Fragmentation Realm experts. Even though the Bamboo Sovereign was strong, he was severely injured and had lost an arm. At this moment, he would certainly be at a disadvantage against Wan Changkong and the other 6 Void Fragmentation Realm experts. The Vine Sovereign no longer looked at the Bamboo Sovereign. In her eyes, the Bamboo Sovereign, who was surrounded by 17 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, was already a dead man. He approached Lu Haoyue step by step. His gaze was only focused on Lu Haoyue. At this moment, only Emperor Lu at his peak could be considered a formidable enemy. Sovereign Qi surged around his body, and with every step he took in the sky, huge vines grew out of the empty sky. The moment the vines appeared, they immediately transformed into Golden Core Realm Vine Soldiers. The vines that filled the sky transformed into Vine Soldiers, and nearly 100,000 Jinden appeared. This was a technique that all the Vine Sovereigns of the Vine Hall had to cultivate. Emperor skill, soldiers under the vine. The soldiers under the vine technique. A mere 100,000 Gold Core Realm Rattan soldiers are nothing to be afraid of. Lu Haoyue's gaze darkened. He glanced at the Bamboo Emperor and touched the Heaven Devil pouch on his waist. That Heavenly Devil pouch was a broken treasure of the minor Kiliacosm. When he touched it, a light flashed and 6 Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters appeared behind him out of nowhere. All 6 of them were elders of the Palace of Lu. It was obvious that Lu Haoyue had come to the Eastern Trees Sea prepared, and he had not come alone. All of you, go and help the Bamboo Emperor. My father owes the previous Bamboo Emperor a favor. I will not let the Bamboo Emperor perish today. Sir. The 6 of them flashed and flew to the Bamboo Sovereign's battle circle. Each of them helped the Bamboo Sovereign block a Void Fragmentation Realm expert, making the Bamboo Sovereign's situation a little easier. The Bamboo Emperor revealed a complicated expression. In reality, he did not have any friendship with Lu Haoyue. Instead, they had some conflicts. He had never thought that Lu Haoyue was actually such a righteous person. Lu Haoyue had disregarded the former enmity and lent a helping hand during the great calamity of the Bamboo Hall just because of the kindness of the previous Bamboo Emperor. Lu Haoyue, if I don't die today, I'll definitely return the favor I owe you today. Bamboo Emperor gritted his teeth and said, No need. When I do things, I only seek speed. What does it have to do with me whether you owe me a favor or not? Lu Haoyue laughed loudly, his eyes revealing an extremely tyrannical expression. Today, Lu Haoyue was dressed in martial attire. He wore a golden leaf armor and a willow leaf crown on his head. He looked dignified and majestic, like an emperor. He bent his palm, and a pure gold willow whip appeared in his hand. He raised his hand and lashed out at the 100,000 Rattan soldiers. That whip looked extremely similar to the white lightning whip in Ning Fan's hand. However, it was just a magic treasure that was transformed from a magic technique. It was not a real object. The whip had no length. As far as the eye could see, that was the range of the whip's attack. The whip lashed out, and a golden whip shadow with destructive fluctuations was struck out, transforming into a golden dragon that soared into the sky. The golden dragon exploded, shattering into 100,000 whips. Wherever the whips landed, the golden core vine soldiers would immediately die. The second whip. Lu Haoyue laughed maniacally like a devil after killing 100,000 vine soldiers with a single whip. He raised his whip in an extremely domineering manner and lashed it at the vine sovereign from a distance. The two of them were separated by 30 kilometers, but the whip still struck the vine sovereign's body. The vine sovereign's physical body wasn't weak at all. Her physical body was at the first heavenly layer of Nirvana realm, and she even had a mid-grade divine mystic armor protecting her. After being struck by Lu Haoyue's whip, a crack immediately appeared on the mid-grade spirit Xian armor. It had already suffered some damage. Moreover, when the vine sovereign was struck by the whip, a bolt of golden lightning immediately appeared in her dantian out of nowhere and swept toward her demonic soul. In an instant, the vine sovereign's palm-sized demonic soul spat out a mouthful of blood. Her breastplate was shattered, and she was directly injured by the lightning. The vine sovereign's eyes were immediately filled with astonishment. This is the technique of Thunder Emperor Buzhou of the Rain Immortal World. It can directly extract a person's primordial spirit and demon soul. 10,000 years ago, Thunder Emperor Buzhou of the Rain World had already fallen. I can't believe that you actually learned his white lightning soul extraction technique. When the Vine Sovereign thought of Thunder Monarch Buzhou's illustrious reputation, deep fear emerged in her eyes. Lu Haoyue laughed loudly. He raised his hand and lashed out for the third time, the fourth time, and the fifth time. In his mind, the awkward memory of learning the white lightning spirit drawing technique flashed through his mind. 20,000 years ago, he had snuck into the rain world to have fun and met the Thunder Monarch by chance. At that time, he was merely at the third heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. After a conversation with the Thunder Monarch, he was deeply impressed by the latter's extraordinary Tao comprehension. Then, he proposed to become sworn brothers with the Thunder Monarch and seek the great Tao together. At that time, the Thunder Monarch's entire body was hidden under his cloak, revealing only a pair of blood-red eyes that resembled those of a woman. She gave Lu Haoyue a strange look and sneered with a man's voice. "Brother? I will never become sworn brothers with anyone." The Thunder Monarch was not a man. How could he become brothers with a man? The Thunder Monarch insisted on not becoming sworn brothers with Lu Haoyue. Lu Haoyue thought that she was looking down on him and challenged her out of anger. After a bitter battle, Lu Haoyue was beaten to a pulp by the Thunder Monarch while the latter remained unscathed. However, Lu Haoyue was not annoyed at all. Instead, he burst into laughter and repeatedly said that his skills were inferior to the Thunder Monarch's. He was an open-minded man. The Thunder Monarch admired Lu Haoyue's broad-mindedness. With a thought, he imparted the Thunder Jade token and the White Lightning Soul extraction technique to Lu Haoyue as an apology for severely injuring him. After that, the Thunder Monarch left and never saw Lu Haoyue again. To her, Lu Haoyue was a good man. However, that was all. Everything about him had nothing to do with her. After Lu Haoyue obtained the White Lightning Soul extraction technique, he cultivated it diligently for 10,000 years and cultivated it to an extremely high level. His cultivation base had also reached the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He wanted to go to the rain world again and challenge the Thunder Monarch. Unfortunately, the Thunder Monarch died mysteriously at that time. His remnant soul was sealed in the Thunder Monarch's tomb. Lu Haoyue rushed to the Rain Palace in anger and questioned the Rain Monarch about the cause of the Thunder Monarch's death. From Lu Haoyue's point of view, the death of the Thunder Monarch in the Rain World was definitely related to the Rain Palace. At that time, the Rain Monarch was a cultivator at the third heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm who was very close to breaking through to the fourth heavenly layer. He was no match for Lu Haoyue. Lu Haoyue let out a long sigh after defeating all the void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain Palace alone. The Rain Monarch was so weak that even he, Lu Haoyue, could not do anything to them. The fall of the Thunder Emperor might have been due to some accident. Lu Haoyue wanted to enter the Emperor's tomb to search for the remnant soul of the Thunder Emperor. However, he received a jade slip from the Zhou family of the Endless Sea. The jade slip was left behind by the Thunder Emperor before his death. The Jade Slip told Lu Haoyue not to interfere with the matters of the Rain World and that he would find a way to resurrect himself and take revenge on his enemies. Lu Haoyue looked at the Jade Slip and returned to the Tree World in silence. He did not enter the tomb. He knew the arrogance of the Thunder Sovereign. He had to take revenge personally. As he sighed over the loss of a friend, he continued to cultivate the White Lightning Spirit Extraction art day and night, and his strength became stronger and stronger. After he had broken through to the 5th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, he once sneaked into the Sword World and challenged the 3 sovereigns of the Sword World just like the Thunder Sovereign did in the past. Unfortunately, he wasn't the Lightning Emperor, and he didn't possess the strength to fight the 3 Sword Emperors by himself. After fighting bitterly for 3 days and 3 nights, he lost at the hands of the 3 Sword Emperors. However, the strength of his combat strength was evident. Ordinary 5th heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators were no match for him at all. If Lu Haoyue were to fight against a Void Fragmentation Realm sovereign expert alone, he would definitely have the strength to win. As for Lu Haoyue, he snuck into the tomb of the Thunder Sovereign to remember his dead friend and met Ning Fan in the Sovereign Tomb. At that time, even though he had entered the Sovereign Tomb, he followed the last wish of the Thunder Sovereign and did not attempt to rescue the remnant soul of the Thunder Sovereign who was trapped in the tomb. At that time, he met Ning Fan by chance and faintly sensed an extremely faint chi of the White Lightning Whip from him. That was the unique chi of the Lightning Whip refined by the Thunder Sovereign. Only cultivators who cultivated the White Lightning Spirit Extraction art could sharply sense this chi. Lu Haoyue could not help but feel a little interested in Ning Fan. In his opinion, Ning Fan must be closely related to the resurrection of the Thunder Sovereign. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to receive a treasure from the Thunder Sovereign. Judging from the treasure, the chi on the White Lightning Whip was still very fresh. It must have been set up by the Thunder Sovereign recently. Lu Haoyue faintly guessed that the Thunder Sovereign was about to return and he was going to rely on his own strength to take revenge on his enemy. He did not mention the word lightning in front of Ning Fan and he did not want to talk too much with him. Originally, he was going to leave the Sovereign Tomb directly. However, when he saw Ning Fan's state of void comprehension, his interest towards Ning Fan rose again. This time, he was interested in Ning Fan himself. He pretended to meet Ning Fan for the first time and asked Ning Fan a few questions. The answers he obtained shocked him. For a moment, he almost regarded Ning Fan as his bosom friend. He wished that he could become sworn brothers with Ning Fan. However, when he recalled the incident where he was rejected by the Thunder Sovereign, he smiled bitterly. The friendship between gentlemen is as indifferent as water. That alone is enough. Why do we have to become sworn brothers? He just gave Ning Fan a spirit sense token and asked him to meet him at Lu Palace in the future. Then, he left. Memories flashed across his mind. Lu Haoyue smiled faintly and thought of Ning Fan. He received news that Ning Fan was in the Eastern Tree Sea. This time, he secretly found out that the Bamboo Hall was in trouble. The reason why he came to the Eastern Tree Sea to save the Bamboo Hall was because he wanted to repay the debt he owed the Bamboo Hall for his father. Secondly, he wanted to visit Ning Fan in the Eastern Tree Sea and have a good discussion about the Dao while drinking wine. I wonder where Brother Ning is right now. Even though his Dao comprehension is deep, he is still a cultivator who has yet to attain the Void Glimpse stage after all. No, that's not right. I haven't seen him for many years. He seems to have already attained the Absolute Void stage. His cultivation speed, on the other hand, is far beyond my reach. Unfortunately, his Absolute Void stage cultivation base is still extremely weak. It will be difficult for him to even protect himself in the great calamity of the Eastern Bamboo Continent this time. The first evil beast has already been unsealed. I need to act as soon as possible to defeat the Vine Sovereign and save the Bamboo Sovereign. Then, we will head to the Heavenly Expanse Bamboo World together and stop the people of the Vine Hall from unsealing the evil beasts. One of the 4 evil beasts that have been sealed has a cultivation base at the 5th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. If this beast is unsealed and helps the Vine Sovereign, I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to fight the Vine Sovereign alone. As Lu Haoyue thought about it, he had already lashed out the 6th and 7th whips. The white lightning spirit extracting technique. Each time the lightning whips were lashed, the destructive power of the whip would become stronger. Combining the 7 whips into one was Lu Haoyue's limit. The 7 golden dragon whips merged into one and turned into a 7-headed lightning dragon. With a flash, it crossed a great distance and struck the Vine Sovereign's chest. All of a sudden, the Vine Sovereign's mysterious divine armor was shattered. Countless golden lightning bolts appeared in her dantian, severely injuring her demon soul. Pooed at the Vine Sovereign retreated 100 li away in the sky. Her face was as pale as a sheet of paper. She activated her secret technique again and again to forcefully extinguish the golden lightning in her body. At this moment, the Vine Sovereign's eyes were filled with deep fear when she looked at Lu Haoyue. Lu Haoyue is extremely strong. Even though she and Lu Haoyue were both at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, Lu Haoyue's strength was far beyond hers. I miscalculated. I didn't expect that I'm actually far from being a match for this Lu Nie. I didn't expect that Lu Nie, who has always been indifferent to the conflicts in the tree world, would actually be this strong. Fortunately, I still have backup. No one knows that my master is the sect master of the 3 Realms sect. The reason why I'm not afraid of Wan Chongkong and dare to kill the divine sovereign of the tree world is because I have the support of the 3 Realms sect. When the Vine Sovereign thought of her master, she felt annoyed. When she thought of the help from the 3 Realms sect that had yet to arrive, she felt even more resentful. The Vine Sovereign had never accepted a disciple. The reason why she accepted Du was because it was an order from her master, the sect master of the 3 Realms. Du had the Scarlet Sun physique. Once his cultivation base reaches a certain level, it would be greatly beneficial to the cultivation of the sect master's physique. Du was the person whom the sect master of the 3 Realms had secretly ordered him to protect. However, he died unexpectedly in Ning Fan's hands. The sect master of the 3 Realms had been in seclusion for many years and had yet to come out. Thus, the news of Du Yu's death had yet to reach his ears. This time, the Vine Sovereign wanted to destroy the Bamboo Hall and asked for help from the 3 Realms sect. Seeing that the Vine Sovereign was the disciple of the sect master, a 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm elder of the sect agreed to help. However, he seemed to be delayed by some matters and had yet to arrive at the tree world. The 4 Nieli haven't been completely unsealed and old ancestor Tian Qian hasn't arrived yet. If it wasn't for that, why would I be suppressed by a mere Lu Haoyue? The Vine Sovereign waved her hand and wielded the Yuan breaking dagger at Lu Haoyue. Lu Haoyue smiled disdainfully and lashed his golden whip 7 times in a row, breaking the Yuan breaking dagger into 2. The dagger was powerful enough to severely injure the Bamboo Sovereign. However, it could not do anything in front of Lu Haoyue. Destroy! The sovereign qi around Lu Haoyue's body was like a dragon. The power of his golden whip increased by another 30% and he lashed the Bamboo Sovereign 7 times in a row. The 7 lashes combined to form a 7-headed lightning dragon. The Vine Sovereign's eyes widened in shock. She sensed great danger from Lu Haoyue's whip attack. If she gets hit by this whip, she would either die or be severely injured. Just as she was about to block Lu Haoyue's whip attack, a red light flashed in the sky. An old demon in red robes with a pair of large blood-colored feathers on his back appeared. That old man remained silent for a moment. Then he pressed his palm down and directly crushed the 7-headed lightning dragon. Even though the lightning dragon was destroyed, the old man took a few steps back in a disheveled manner. Obviously, he was shaken by the might of the lightning dragon and suffered some injuries. Humph! I didn't expect Lu Sovereign of the Tree World to be so powerful. Even I am slightly inferior to him. Aren't you the 4th elder of the 3 Realms sect? Why is someone from the upper realm interfering in the dispute of my lower realm? Lu Haoyue stared at the old demon in red robes and blood feathers coldly. His heart sank. Isn't the 3 Realms sect a sect established by the rogue cultivators of the upper realm? Why would the cultivators of the upper realm interfere in the dispute of the 3 sovereigns of the lower realm? I will stop you from killing Lu Haoyue. Second Highness Ping Zhu, You must fulfill your promise and give me a Sinli to devour. The old demon in red robes licked his lips greedily. Alright. The Vine Sovereign hesitated for a moment before agreeing without much hesitation. He was prepared to give a Sinli at the Void Fragmentation Realm to the old demon in red robes to devour in order to rope him in. Screeched at the second roar of the ferocious beast, Sinli suddenly resounded from the peak of the sky. The aura force of this Sinli's roar was also at the third heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. The Vine Sovereign's eyes lit up. Needless to say, the second Sinli in the bamboo world has been unsealed. Sinli. Is this the legendary ferocious beast Sinli? The old demon in red robes' eyes burned with passion. In order to devour a Sinli, he was willing to help the Vine Sovereign do anything. Even if he had to kill the Bamboo Sovereign and Willow Sovereign of the Tree World for no reason, it was not a problem. He was the fourth elder of the Three Realms sect. Why would he need a reason to do whatever he wanted in the lower realm? In the bamboo world, Ningfan was helping Ting Xianro and the Heavenly Tribulation puppets to defeat the three tree devils. When he heard the sound of the second Sinli being unsealed, his eyes turned grim. The roar of the second Sinli was also filled with endless hatred towards the Fu Li clan. The second Sinli's roar was directed at Ningfan. It could vaguely sense Ningfan's Fu Li bloodline. Its eyes were filled with killing intent. A mere Sinli was demoted to a Sinli because of the crime of betraying the clan. Not only did it not repent, but it also hates the Fu Li clan. Ningfan's mind raced and his eyes flashed with cold light. He could foresee that even if he leaves this golden world, he would still be besieged by the unsealed Sinli in the outside world. Thus, the only thing he could do was to leave this world as soon as possible before Wan Changkong unseals more Sinli roar. The countless bamboo arms of the scattered tree devils turned into sharp thorns and stabbed at Ting Xianro and the others, forcing them to retreat. Ningfan opened his sword pouch. With a flash of golden light, Emperor Xia's sword appeared in his hand. He knew that he must eliminate the tree devils at all costs and leave this world as soon as possible. Little Fan, don't be afraid. Big sister will help you kill this old tree spirit. Second sister will help you kill it. Third sister will help you kill it. Fourth sister will help you stab it to death. 5. Tong, you little stutterer. Don't talk anymore. It's a waste of time. Let's quickly attack together and help little Fan completely control the golden sword. Tong let out a softening sound. At the next moment, the 5 sword spirits exerted all of their strength. Ningfan held the Emperor Xia's sword in his hand. All of his magic power flowed into the sword like an ocean. Create an opportunity for me. I want to kill this devil with a single sword strike. Ningfan ordered Ting Xianro and the others with a deep voice. Chapter 599. Ningfan held Emperor Xia's sword in his hand. After giving the order, he slowly closed his eyes. When he opened his eyes again, there was actually an extremely thin golden line swimming in each of his eyes. If it was magnified countless times, one would be able to see clearly that the 2 golden lines swimming in Ningfan's eyes were actually 2 extremely tiny golden swords. It was the remnants of the sword left behind by the previous owner of Emperor Xia's sword. It was Ningfan's first time holding the sword, but he was still unable to feel the sword intent. However, when he held the sword for the second time, Ningfan had already gradually achieved the state where his body and sword became one and caused the remaining sword intent in the sword to go on a rampage. There was only a small amount of this sword intent, but the sword might it contained seemed to be much stronger than the immortal trapping sword intent that Ningfan had comprehended. At the moment he merged with the sword intent, his sea of consciousness actually felt like it was on the verge of collapsing. It was being corroded by traces of golden sword intent. One should know that Ningfan's sea of consciousness was the sword consciousness. It was formed through the immortal execution order. Moreover, it had devoured the broken immortal slaughtering sword and contained the immortal trapping sword intent. Moreover, it was reinforced by Ting Xianro's sword consciousness. His sword will vaguely contain the power of 3 of the 4 heaven-suppressing swords, But before the sword will of Emperor Xia's sword, his sword will, and sword will were not worth mentioning at all. It was difficult to resist the erosion of the golden sword will. What kind of sword intent did the previous owner of this sword cultivate? How could the sword power be so domineering? It's much stronger than the sword power of the 4 heaven-suppressing swords, such as celestial slaying, celestial trapping, and celestial ending. This sword intent is very strong. It also gives me a very familiar feeling. So that's how it is. When I first saw this sword, the reason why I felt a sense of familiarity was because I felt a sense of familiarity with this sword intent. The feeling this sword intent gives me is very similar to the sword chi of the scabbard I got from the Godly Void Pavilion's auction, but it's somewhat different. The sword sheath that Ning Fan mentioned was something he obtained from the Godly Void Pavilion's auction in the past. It contained a trace of the sword ancestor's sword chi. Relying on this eternal sword chi, Ning Fan's insignificant harmonious spirit cultivation was able to block Moksha Emperor's attack. The feeling that the sword intent of Emperor Xia's sword gave him was very similar to the sword intent of the sword ancestor. However, if one were to carefully analyze the 2 sword intents, the difference between them would be like the difference between heaven and earth. They were not exactly the same and their power could not be compared. The sword will of Emperor Xia's sword seemed to have been created by imitating the sword will of the sword ancestor. The previous master of Emperor Xia's sword attempted to comprehend and imitate the sword will of the sword ancestor. The sword ancestor's sword intent is countless times more powerful than the 4 heaven-suppressing swords. Ning Fan put away all the distracting thoughts in his mind and immersed all of his attention into Emperor Xia's sword, gradually calming the violent sword intent within it. He stepped on the sky and slowly advanced, approaching the ancestral bamboo tree demon step by step. At this moment, Teng Xianrou and the 5 heavenly tribulation puppets had received Ning Fan's order. They were doing their best to fight the tree devil, creating an opportunity for Ning Fan to kill it. The tree demon was a life puppet. His true will was unwilling to obey Wan Changkong, unwilling to destroy Bamboo Hall, unwilling to unseal Nieli. However, he was born and had no choice. His mission was to protect the Bamboo Hall, but since 10,000 years ago he had killed many cultivators of the Bamboo Hall because of his madness. Every time he killed someone, his heart would be filled with grief. This time, he had to obey Wan Changkong's order to destroy the bamboo palace that he had been guarding for a long time. He wasn't willing. He wanted to die in the hands of Teng Xianrou and the other void fragmentation realm experts. However, they did not have the strength to kill him. His ancestral bamboo body was just a shell. His tree spirit was his true body. However, Teng Xianrou and the others could not even break his shell, let alone harm the tree spirit in the bamboo. He repelled the attacks of Teng Xianrou and the others again and again. When he was almost in despair, Ning Fan took out Emperor Xia's sword. The tree devil glanced at Ning Fan from the corner of his eyes. At this moment, Ning Fan gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. If one were to look carefully, they would realize that the feeling of danger did not come from Ning Fan himself. Instead, it came from the thin golden sword in his hand. If this sword gets close to my tree spirit, it can kill me with a single slash. Kill me. Kill Wanchanka. Save the bamboo hall. The tree devil's heart was filled with pleading. However, the gigantic ancestral bamboo body stepped on the golden ground and rushed towards Ning Fan with immense killing intent. Void technique, void embrace. A massive black hole suddenly appeared on the tree devil's gigantic bamboo body. A boundless suction force was generated from the black hole. It sucked in Ning Fan's direction forcefully, sucking the entire sky where Ning Fan was standing into the tree. This technique was an extremely powerful natal ability of the ancestral bamboo. The heart of the bamboo was hollow and it was cultivated into an absolute space for killing. In the past, when the ancestral bamboo was guarding the bamboo hall, he would often use this technique to devour his enemies and refine them into the space inside his body. However, this technique could only be used to kill low-grade cultivators. If a void fragmentation realm cultivator is devoured into the space inside his body, His opponent might break through the space inside his body and attack the vital parts of the ancestral bamboo's body, killing him. The reason why the ancestral bamboo used this technique to attack Ningfan was not because he wanted to kill him. Instead, he wanted to lure Ningfan into his body to give him a chance to attack the tree spirit in his body. Since he could not disobey Wan Changkong's order, he had no choice but to attack Ningfan. He did not want to harm the bamboo hall. That was why he was willing to lure Ningfan into his body and give him a chance to kill him. After Ningfan was devoured by the ancestral bamboo, he appeared in the space inside his body. His eyes were filled with thoughts. Originally, he had a way to block this technique and not be devoured by the ancestral bamboo. However, Ningfan saw through the ancestral bamboo's true intention. He saw through the ancestral bamboo's desire for death. He realized that the ancestral bamboo actually wanted to lure him into his body and give him a chance to kill the tree spirit. Kill me! Kill me! Kill me! If you kill me, I will let you devour me and help your reign intent rise to the first grade. If you kill me, I will let you devour me and help your physique improve greatly. Ningfan stood in the space inside the bamboo. He seemed to be able to hear the ancestral bamboo's pleading. This space seemed to contain a divine ability that could gradually melt the physical body and dissipate the primordial spirit of the cultivators who are devoured by it. Inside this space, there were more than 100 ferocious bamboo beasts. Each of them had a void glimpse stage cultivation base. In front of all the ferocious bamboo beasts stood a green-haired old man. He was the ancestral bamboo's tree spirit who had a third heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. The green-haired old man stood with his hands clasped behind his back and gave a cold command. At the next moment, all of the bamboo beasts turned into rays of light and charged at Ningfan. Ningfan held Emperor Xia's sword in his hand. His eyes were as calm as autumn water. He could only use this sword once before his magic power would be depleted. It would be difficult for him to kill the 3 tree spirits with just the power of a single sword strike. However, now that the tree spirit had cooperated with him and was begging for death, his chances of success were extremely high. Since you want to die, I will grant you a grand burial. Qi Ningfan took a step forward and disappeared without a trace. At the next moment, he appeared at the center of the bamboo beasts that filled the sky. His eyes were gradually occupied by the sword intent of Emperor Xia's sword, turning into a pure golden color. His movements were extremely fast and his attacks were as fast as lightning. He only used Emperor Xia's sword to kill his enemies without activating any sword light. Every time he swung his sword, a void glimpse stage bamboo beast would definitely die. In just 7 breaths' time, Ningfan had already killed all the void glimpse stage bamboo beasts. He stepped on his void sea of qi and stood in front of the green-haired old man from afar. The green-haired old man's eyes were cold and bloodthirsty. Deep in his heart, he desired death. His body was like a ghost. As soon as he took a step forward, he immediately vanished. Ningfan's back immediately had goosebumps. He felt a great sense of danger. Ningfan knew that the green-haired old man was going to attack him from behind. His speed was terrifyingly fast. Even though he was only at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, his speed was even faster than some cultivators at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Die! Before Ningfan could dodge the attack, the green-haired old man had already appeared behind him and pointed a finger at him. As soon as he pointed his finger, 12 golden bamboo swords immediately pierced through Ningfan's back, penetrating through his body. Bang! After being penetrated by the 12 bamboo swords, Ningfan's physical body quickly disintegrated, turning into black shadows that dissipated. When his body condensed again, his black robes were filled with bloodstains and blood was seeping out from the corner of his mouth. He tried to avoid the attack of the green-haired old man by using the disintegration of his incarnation. Unfortunately, even if his incarnation turned into nothingness, it could not completely negate all the damage. In the end, he was still injured. As a 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, this tree spirit is indeed very strong. Even if I activate the void ignition technique to the 5th flap of the butterfly flame, I still can't hurt him. If this person didn't willingly lead me into his body, it would be very difficult for me to get close to him, let alone kill him. I'm not a match for this person. Under normal circumstances, unless I attain the void fragmentation realm, I have no chance of winning against him. However, now that I'm holding Emperor Xia's sword, I have a feeling in my heart. There is nothing in this world that I can't cut. There is no enemy in this world that I can't eliminate. All the gods and devils in the heavens are just ants. If I break my sword, there will be no martial arts in this world. Ning Fan's mind vaguely recalled the scene where the female sword ancestor killed all the gods and devils. He no longer resisted the erosion of the golden sword intent and allowed it to invade his sea of consciousness. Inside his sword consciousness, a layer of golden color began to appear. That golden color was all of the sword intent in Emperor Xia's sword. This sword intent was too overbearing. As soon as it invaded Ning Fan's sea of consciousness, it immediately devoured all of the immortal trapping sword intent that he cultivated and used it to strengthen the golden sword intent. One loss, one gain. The entire ocean that had lost the immortal trapping sword intent obtained a spring of Emperor Xia's sword intent. The quantity of the sword intent had decreased, but its destructive power had greatly increased. Kill! A ray of green light flashed. The green-haired old man once again approached Ning Fan's back like a ghost and pointed at him. 12 bamboo sword lights slashed at Ning Fan's back. However, at this moment, Ning Fan neither dodged nor defended himself. Without turning his head, he shouted coldly, "Get lost!" As soon as he uttered that word, a trace of Emperor Xia's sword intent automatically protected his body. None of the 12 sword lights could reach Ning Fan. When they were 3 inches away from Ning Fan's back, all of them broke into 2 and were destroyed. The sword broke only because of fear. The sword broke only because of fear. This Emperor Xia's sword intent was created by the rogue immortal sword cultivator who used to own this sword. It imitated the sword intent of the sword ancestor. Even though this sword intent was far inferior to the sword ancestor's sword intent, it contained a trace of the sword ancestor's might. What sword in this world dares to slash the sword ancestor? Perhaps a void fragmentation realm sword cultivator who purely cultivated the sword could ignore this weak sword ancestor's might and injure Ning Fan with his sword. However, the green-haired old man was not a pure sword cultivator. Sword techniques were not his forte. Don't even think about sneaking an attack on Ning Fan with this technique. The green-haired old man's body flashed and he had already retreated 10,000 li away. Ning Fan turned around and looked at the green-haired old man from afar. This green-haired old man willingly led him into his body and only used the abilities that he was not good at to fight him. As for Ning Fan, he had the help of the 5 sword spirits to control the Emperor Xia's sword and even exchanged the immortal trapping sword intent for the Emperor Xia's sword intent. If he still could not kill the tree spirit under such circumstances, he would certainly die in its hands. It was the will of heaven. Kill! The green-haired old man took a step forward and his figure disappeared once again. At the next moment, 100 green-haired old men suddenly appeared in the vast sky around Ning Fan. It was actually him who split himself into 100. All of the green-haired old men raised their hands at the same time and pointed at Ning Fan. Countless sword lights from the bamboo swords slashed down, but Ning Fan was not afraid at all. The green-haired old man had purposely given in to Ning Fan. He only wanted to die, so he purposely attacked Ning Fan with abilities that could not harm him. Golden light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. With just a glance, all the bamboo swords in the sky were destroyed. At the same time, he raised his hand and held up the Emperor Xia's sword. He made a hand seal and the sword immediately split into 100 golden sword lights, slashing at the green-haired old men. In just an instant, the golden sword lights crossed an immeasurable distance and slashed at the bodies of the green-haired old men one after another. Metal was the bane of wood. Moreover, this sword attack was the shadow clone of the Emperor Xia's sword. With just a single strike, the blood of the green-haired old men splattered across the vast sky. They were all killed by the sword shadows. Ning Fan stood in the void. All of his magic power had been depleted. 3 zhang away from him, the green light slowly condensed into the illusory figure of a green-haired old man. It was none other than the tree spirit who was on the verge of death. The old man begged. As you wish. Ning Fan raised his hand and slashed the green-haired old man into 2. Dense, baleful qi surrounded Ning Fan's body. Thank you. The green-haired old man's last words of gratitude slowly faded away. Eventually, it could no longer be heard. In front of Ning Fan, a dark green fruit was slowly taking shape. It was not a Dao fruit but a fruit that was formed from the spiritual body of the tree spirit. As he was grateful to Ning Fan for sending him to his death, he turned the power of his spiritual body into a fruit before he died and gifted it to Ning Fan. This fruit was extremely similar to the tree god fruit. However, the energy it contained was incomparable to the latter. It was also not the tree ancestor fruit. The energy contained in this fruit was equivalent to 1,000 tree ancestor fruits. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with passion. If he devours this fruit, his rain intent realm would break through to the next grade. He flicked his sleeve and kept the fruit. Then he raised his hand and slashed the void space, escaping from the body of the tree devil. Looking at the gigantic body of the ancestral bamboo, his eyes were filled with passion again. If he devours the entire ancestral bamboo, his minor 5 elements body would receive a great improvement. You actually killed a tree devil at the 3rd destruction realm all by yourself. When Teng Xianro saw Ning Fan break free, the withered ancestral bamboo and the fresh baleful qi on his body, she was incomparably shocked. She had guessed that Ning Fan was extremely strong countless times, but she had never thought that he had the strength to kill a tree devil at the 3rd destruction realm. How could he be so strong? Could it be that his true cultivation base is not at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, but the 4th or 5th heavenly layer? Chapter 600. The more Teng Xianro thought about it, the more she thought that Ning Fan was a 4th or 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator who was hiding his cultivation base. Ji Hua and the other 4 spiritual puppets, on the other hand, remained silent. They did not say much. When they saw Ning Fan escaping from Zhu Zhu's body, they immediately stood by his side to guard him, looking extremely loyal. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the 5 heavenly tribulation puppets and shifted to Zhu Zhu. Then he closed his eyes with a sigh. The puppetry technique was truly a cruel technique. Whether it was Sun Yu, the Bai Li King, Ling Zhu, or the tree spirit, all of them were willing to die to be freed after becoming living puppets. Wan Chongkong was a cruel man. He slaughtered countless tree clansmen, refined countless living puppets, and made countless cultivators beg for death. Ning Fan knew that he was also a cruel person. The number of people he had killed was definitely not less than Wan Chongkong. When he subdued the puppets, he was certainly not as merciful as Wan Chongkong. I am not a kind person. Although I know that the puppet technique is cruel, I have no choice but to use it. In terms of killing people like scything flax, I was very similar to Wan Chongkong. However, there's one thing that I'm different from Wan Chongkong. Although he had killed countless people and taken in many puppets, the people he had killed along the way were either provocateurs or enemies of the Great Tao. He had a clear conscience. He was willing to help Sun Yu and the others escape death not because he was kind. He did not like Wan Chongkong's way of doing things. If they were enemies, he would just kill them. If he took pleasure in killing, it would be beneath him. When Ning Fan recalled how the Ming Luo clan was massacred 10,000 years ago, he gradually became determined to kill Wan Chongkong. When he thought about how he was trapped in this golden world, he would never let Wan Chongkong go. From Zhu Hong's memories, Ning Fan had already learned that the Vine Sovereign had sent out countless troops to destroy the bamboo hall in the outside world. The Vine Sovereign had also come. It wasn't that Ning Fan wasn't angry when the Vine Sovereign's subordinates chased after him all the way. Whether the Vine Palace destroys the Bamboo Palace or not originally had nothing to do with Ning Fan. However, now that Ning Fan had destroyed the tree spirit of the ancestral bamboo and stood against Wan Chongkong, he even became enemies with the Vine Sovereign. It was difficult for him to avoid the calamity that was about to befall the Eastern Tree Sea. Since there was no way to avoid it, There was no point in avoiding it. Everyone, attack this golden space. Don't try to break it, just try to weaken the power of the seal. Once my magic power is restored, I will personally break the seal of this world. After giving the order, Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and kept the entire trunk of the ancestral bamboo into his storage pouch. The ancestral bamboo had already withered and died. There was no way to save it. If Ning Fan devours the entire ancestral bamboo, his wood elemental physique would certainly improve tremendously. He still had the ancestral bamboo fruit on him. If he ate it, Yui would definitely break through to the next grade. Both of them were of great use to Ning Fan. However, refining them was not something that could be done in a short period of time. At this very moment, Ning Fan was still trapped in the golden world. The most important thing for him to do right now was to get out of it as soon as possible. He did not have the time to refine the two heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures. He took a few pills to recover his magic power and began to adjust his breathing. Although the sword of Emperor Xia was powerful, it had used up all of his powers with just one strike. Teng Xianrou and the 5 snakes obeyed Ning Fan's orders. Each of them stood in a corner and activated their abilities to attack the spatial barrier of the golden world. Time passed bit by bit. Ning Fan's magic power was recovering rapidly while Teng Xianrou and the others were weakening the spatial barrier of this place bit by bit. In the bamboo world, Wan Changkong had already unsealed 2 of the Xinli. He was urging the group of living puppets to speed up the process of unsealing the 3rd Xinli. He stood proudly at the peak of the golden bamboo mountain. 2 gigantic demon birds were flying in the sky above him. Both of them were Xinli. One of them was a gigantic bird that looked like a purple-black fire phoenix. It had 4 purple fiery tail wings and only 1 eye. The other one was a strange ghost bird that only had a white skeleton left. Its body was surrounded by ominous purple-black flames. Both of them were at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Both of them had different appearances. Fu Li was originally a demon bird that was transformed from those people who refused to submit to death. In the beginning, the appearance of Fu Li was varied. Thus, they did not have a uniform appearance. Some of them looked like phoenixes and vultures while some looked like sparrows and falcons. The Xinli was a Fu Li that had betrayed its clan and lost its bloodline. Thus, their appearances were naturally different. There was only one constant characteristic of the Fu Li and the Xinli. In the ancient times, the Fu Li was the messenger of the heavenly Tao. Their bodies carried an extremely auspicious qi. After the great calamity of the 3 clans, the Fu Li was despised by the heavenly Tao. Their luck turned black and they carried an evil and ominous qi. Both of these gigantic beasts of the Xinli gave off an extremely ominous qi. The eyes of the 2 beasts were blood red. They stood respectfully beside Wan Changkong. Their expressions showed that they would obey every order of Wan Changkong. After these 2 beasts were unsealed, Wan Changkong had forcefully subdued them by paying a huge price and refined them into living puppets. Subduing the 1st Xinli extinguished one of my life lamps. Subduing the 2nd Xinli extinguished my 2nd life lamp. Subduing the 2 Xinli that had broken through to the 3rd level only used up one of my life lamps each. It was because these 2 Xinli had been suppressed for many years. They had just broken through their seals and had yet to fully recover their strength. Thus, I took advantage of them. Back then, when I subdued the ancestral bamboo tree spirit of the bamboo palace, I used up 2 of my life lamps. That price was truly huge. Every member of the Mournful Death clan is born with 7 life lamps. They can be used when they are subduing a puppet that has a higher cultivation base than them. Every time a life lamp is used, there will be 1 less lamp left. I still have 3 life lamps in my body. I wonder if they are enough to subdue the remaining 2 Xinli. At this moment, Wan Changkong looked extremely haggard. After extinguishing 2 life lamps in a row, he must have consumed a lot of energy. While he was taking pills to regulate his breath, recovering his complexion a little, he was staring at the grand formation of the bamboo realm without blinking. Time passed bit by bit. The difficulty of unsealing the 3rd Xinli was extremely high. This third Sinli had a cultivation base of the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Its temperament was also very violent. During the process of breaking through the seal, it did not cooperate with the living puppets. Occasionally, it would resist and kill a few living puppets, feeling great satisfaction. This beast really doesn't know how to appreciate favors. I helped it to break through the seal, but it still dared to hinder me from doing so. When this beast breaks through the seal, I will certainly teach it a good lesson and refine it into a living puppet. I will make it beg for death. Wan Chongkong snorted coldly. Once his aura had fully recovered, he personally took action and unsealed the formation with all his might. After Wan Chongkong personally took action, the third Sinli gradually broke out of its seal. A bloodthirsty cry spread out of the bamboo world, into the golden world, and throughout Jishui City. Not good. The third Sinli was unsealed. A cultivation base at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm? Lu Haoyue, who was fighting the Vine Sovereign and old monster Heavenly Bird, turned grim. The third Evil Li had already been unsealed and its cultivation base was at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Good, very good. When the last nefarious beast is unsealed, you, Lu Haoyue, and the Bamboo Sovereign will definitely die. The Vine Sovereign smiled proudly. In the Golden World, Ning Fan had already recovered 20 to 30% of his magic power. He was using his wind mist technique to break the seal of this world. When Ning Fan heard the sound of the third Evil Li breaking the seal, his expression became rather unpleasant. The third Nieli has been unsealed. Moreover, it's at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. This third Sinli is also hostile towards me. I have to break the seal as soon as possible. In the bamboo world, the third Evil Li broke the gigantic seal on the ground and soared into the sky. It was a giant bird with 9 heads. It had 12 pairs of amethyst bone wings and 3 legs. Seeing that the third Fu Li had broken the seal and was trying to escape from this world, Wan Chongkong sneered. He raised his right hand and produced countless silver threads. After forming a hand seal with his left hand, he stretched out his palm. All of a sudden, a black lamp with silver flames appeared above his palm out of nowhere. This is my 5th life lamp. After this lamp is used, there will only be 2 left. Since the third Evil Li has just broken the seal and its chi is still in a mess, I will subdue it in one go. If I wait for its demon power to flow smoothly, it will be impossible for me to subdue it without consuming 2 or 3 life lamps. Life lamp, extinguish. The 5th life lamp suddenly extinguished. The silver threads that Wan Chongkong summoned immediately turned into countless silver chains that were tens of zhang thick. Each of them had a hook on it and pierced into the 9-headed Evil Li. The 9-headed Evil Li had just broken the seal and was still in ecstasy. Suddenly, it was sneakily attacked by the silver chains. It let out a miserable cry and its demon soul began to dissipate. Its eyes gradually became hollow. Wan Chongkong's face turned pale rapidly. He tried his best to control the silver chains and locked the 9-headed Evil Li tightly. After an hour, the 9-headed Evil Li was finally subdued by Wan Chongkong and refined into a life puppet. At this moment, Wan Chongkong had almost exhausted all his magic power. He was extremely exhausted. This is my first time subduing the 4-life puppet and it's actually so difficult. The last Evil Li is at the 5-life puppet realm. I think it will be even more difficult to subdue it. With my first life puppet realm cultivation base, I'm afraid it won't be enough to subdue the 5-life puppet realm. I might have to give up the last 2 life lamps. However, it's still worth it. As long as I can subdue the last 5-life puppet realm, I will be able to do whatever I want in the tree world with just this 5-life puppet realm. With my divine power and the help of the 4 Evil Li, even the Vine Sovereign won't be my match. Of course, the Vine Sovereign has the backing of the 3-world sect. Naturally, I won't dare to touch her. If that's not the case, why would I cooperate with her? If I can eliminate the 3 sovereigns of the tree world by myself and dominate the tree world, wouldn't it be even more satisfying to turn all the cultivators into my puppets? Wan Chongkong consumed another pill to recover his magic power. there were 3 evil Li flying beside him. Each of them was obedient to him. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile as he hastened the process of unsealing the 4th evil Li. As long as I can unseal and subdue the 4th evil Li, even if Liu Bei knows the Black Moon divine ability, he won't be my match. When I bring the 4 evil Li back to Jishui and wipe out the entire bamboo palace, I will be the one to take the credit for destroying the bamboo palace. Time passed by. Wan Changkong had just recovered 10 to 20% of his magic power. He couldn't wait to personally unseal the 4th evil Li. The 4th evil Li seemed to be extremely docile, unlike the previous 3 evil Li that were ferocious. It didn't resist or interfere with the unsealing process. It was quietly waiting for the moment to break the seal, making the process very smooth. Wan Changkong couldn't help but be overjoyed when he saw that there was only 1 seal left before he could unseal the 4th evil Li. The heavens are helping me. This 4th evil Li isn't a ferocious creature. The difficulty of subduing it should be much lower. Perhaps I just need to use one of my life lamps to subdue it. Just as Wan Changkong was imagining the scene of him controlling the 4 evil Li and wiping out the entire tree world, a huge golden hole suddenly appeared in the sky of the bamboo world. The opening of the huge hole was surrounded by golden-purple mist that could corrode everything. Ning Fan, who was dressed in black, took a step out of the golden space. Chapter 601. At the mouth of the huge hole, there was a purplish gold mist that could corrode everything. Ning Fan, who was dressed in black, took a step out of the golden space. Teng Xianrou and Wu Enai followed him out of the space, but Demonic Tree, Bai Li King, Ling Zhu, and the others weren't there. I can't believe you broke the sealing magic of a 6th demolisher. Looks like I've underestimated you. Where were Tree Spirit, Ling Zhu, Bai Li, and Sun Yu? Why haven't you come out of the sealed space yet? All of you quickly help this old man block Liu Bei. This old man is busy unsealing the 4th Sini Li. I don't have the time to pay attention to this person. Wan Changkong shouted in the direction of the golden space. He wanted to order Tree Spirit and the others to walk out of the golden space and kill Ning Fan. Unfortunately, the Tree Spirit and the other living puppets didn't come out even after the gap in the golden space was completely healed. Wan Changkong's expression changed. He suddenly patted his storage pouch and took out a puppet natal chart. This life chart would automatically record the soul imprints of all the living beings he subdued. At this moment, the soul imprints of Sun Yu, Bai Li, Ling Zhu, and Tree Spirit had disappeared. Impossible! The living puppets I put into the golden space are all dead. All the living puppets in the golden space were dead. Not only that, all of these living puppets were killed by Ning Fan. The ferocious qi that lingered on Ning Fan's body explained everything. Liu Bei, even with the help of Teng Xianrou and the 5 soul-shattering puppets, you are just a little kid at the Grand Void Realm. What was going on? Could it be? Wan Changkong suddenly became alert. With my cultivation base at the 1st heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, I can cultivate 12 Void Fragmentation Realm clones. I can also use the life puppet technique to subdue the 3rd and 4th heavenly layers of Void Fragmentation Realm. Why couldn't Liu Bei kill the 3 tree spirits when he learned the Black Moon Divine Art? Black Moon Divine Ability? Yes, it must be the Black Moon Divine Ability. Without this ability, no matter how heaven-defying Ning Fan is, it would be impossible for him to kill the 3 tree spirits with just his absolute void stage cultivation base. What exactly was the Black Moon Divine Art? At this moment, Wan Changkong's magic power had yet to recover. Besides, he was afraid of Ning Fan's Black Moon Divine Ability. Thus, he naturally did not dare to face Ning Fan head-on. He cast a sidelong glance at the 3-headed evil Li Shengho and suddenly sneered. Why should I be afraid of Liu Bei? I still have 3 vile life puppets by my side. It's truly a piece of cake to kill this kid. Everyone heed my command. Kill Liu Bei. Screech. What answered Wan Changkong was the bloodthirsty and ferocious cries of the 3 evil Li. These 3 Sin Li became Wan Changkong's puppets. Even if they were unwilling, they had to obey Wan Changkong's orders. As for the matter of killing Ning Fan, the three evil creatures were all willing to do it. It coincided with Wan Changkong's wish. They had once betrayed the Fu Li race and their bloodline was crippled by the Fu Li race, turning them into the Sin Li race's slaves. Nie Li's lifespan would never end, he would be the Fu Li race's slave for generations to come, he would never have the chance to reincarnate. If he died, he would turn into ashes. They were unrepentant and hated the Fu Li clan to the core. After being sealed for countless years, they sensed a trace of Fu Li Qi from Ning Fan and directly transferred the hatred they had accumulated for countless years onto Ning Fan. Kill him. He is from the Fu Li race. Kill him. Kill him. His aura disgusts us. Kill him. Kill. 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 The fire phoenix Nie Li, the white bone Nie Li and the nine-headed Nie Li flapped their wings and dashed towards Ning Fan's group. They only had one thought in their minds and that was to kill Ning Fan. Even though they were inflicted with the Sin Seal, they did not think that Ning Fan, a member of the Fu Li race, had the ability to control the Sin Seal. Only the members of the Fu Li race who were above the royal family could control the Sin Seal and kill those who disobeyed their orders. Only the Fu Li race who had the ancestral bloodline could remove the Sin Seal and revive them. How could the three of them know that Ning Fan had the bloodline power to activate the Sin Seal in their bodies? The three beasts should feel unfortunate because the person standing in front of them was a Fu Li with the ancestral bloodline. They should feel lucky that Ning Fan had yet to obtain the complete inheritance of the Fu Li race. Thus, he did not know about the sin-expelling seal and the method to remove it. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He had the supreme bloodline of the Fu Li race, but he did not know how to use the secret techniques and abilities of the Fu Li race. He also did not know how to use the Sin Seal to kill the three savage Nie Li. Fortunately, his bloodline was extremely strong. If he completely unleashed the bloodline aura force of the 4 drops of ancestral blood, even if he could not kill the 3 Nie Li with the Sin Seal, he could still greatly weaken their strength. It was just like what Little Sable did in the past. He could greatly weaken the cultivation bases of the ghosts in the Demon Sinister Forest just by relying on his ghost-restraining aura force. I have only recovered 20 to 30% of my magic power. I wonder if it's enough for me to use Emperor Xia's sword again. Even though my bloodline is strong, I don't know how much it can suppress the cultivation bases of these 3 Nie Li. I don't have the confidence to win the battle against these 3 Nie Li. However, since I can't avoid this battle, there's no need for me to avoid it. In Ning Fan's left eye, the 2 purple-black demon stars shone with a faint demonic light. The aura force of his bloodline slowly rose. As long as he fully unleashed it, he would certainly be able to weaken the strength of the 3 Nie Li race. If he could not avoid his destiny, he would fight against it. If he could not avoid his death, he would turn into a devil. With the might of my Fu Li ancestral blood, I hereby command all of you. Before Ning Fan could finish his words and release his aura force, the entire bamboo world suddenly let out a loud bang and shook violently. On the ground, a purple-black light flashed. A semicircular shadow of a purple-black ring suddenly shone on the ground. Circles of purple-black ripples spread across the bamboo world. As soon as the halo appeared, the grand formation of the bamboo world suddenly shattered. All of the bamboo mountains collapsed. Shriek! The 4th Nie Li had broken its seal. This cry did not reveal any hostility towards Ning Fan. Instead, it sounded like it was submitting to him. This cry was extremely similar to the sorrowful cry that Ning Fan had heard in the past. The 4th Nie Li has actually broken its seal by itself. Wan Changkong was overjoyed. He summoned 2 life lamps and extinguished both of them. He then raised his hand and summoned countless silver chains. Then he directly threw them at the 4th Nie Li. Unbeknownst to him, the moment the 4th Nie Li appeared, the eyes of the other 3 Nie Li which had been reduced to living puppets actually revealed a hint of fear. The cultivation base of the 4th Nie Li was at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was an unusually beautiful gigantic peacock with purple eyes and black feathers. Its purple eyes were like gems. They were even brighter than the stars in the sky. Its black feathers were as beautiful as black crystals. Under the sunlight, they shone with a strange radiance. Its body was giving off an extremely ominous qi. It was like a vengeful undead spirit from the netherworld. Its purple eyes were brighter than the eyes of any woman. When it saw the silver chains that filled the sky, its eyes revealed a hint of disdain. Shriek! It let out a long cry that sounded like it was mocking Ningfan. Then, it shook its black feathers and a semicircular shadow of a purple-black ring appeared in the sky once again. The shadow of the ring spread out purple-black ripples. As soon as the ripples touched the silver chains in the sky, they immediately shattered and dissipated. How is this possible? This old man's life puppet technique has always been successful. After sacrificing 2 life lamps, how could it be broken by this evilly beast? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Even if this Nyeli is at the 5-shattering realm, it is impossible for it to be this heaven-defying. Wan Changkong did not know the origin of the semicircular shadow of the ring. Naturally, he did not know how the purple-eyed Nyeli was able to break his secret technique. However, when Ningfan's eyes met the shadow of the ring for the first time, he found it hard to shift his gaze away. This is a spirit wheel. The spirit wheel of the Fu Li clan. Even if this spirit wheel is only half complete, the power of its ability is definitely not something that a mere Wan Changkong can imagine. With this semicircular spirit wheel, this Nyeli was very strong. Extremely strong. Even though it was at the 5-shattering realm, some cultivators at the 6-shattering realm might not necessarily be its match. Shriek! The purple-eyed Nyeli flapped its black wings and produced a vast and violent gust of wind, directly killing all the life puppets that Wan Changkong used to break the formation. As for the trace of Wan Changkong's divine sense, it was blown 100,000 li away and was on the verge of death. In a flash, it traveled across a vast distance and appeared in front of Ningfan. Its back was facing Ningfan as if it wanted to protect him. Then, it flapped its black wings at the other 3 Nyeli whose eyes were filled with fear. Huff! The purple-black gust of wind also blew the other 3 Nyeli 100,000 li away. Each of them was severely injured. They were not a match for the purple-eyed Nyeli at all. Facing the purple-eyed Nyeli, Ningfan had a strange feeling. This purple-eyed Nyeli did not know how to speak. It only knew how to cry. Its sin mark was planted in its throat bone and sea of consciousness. Only by breaking the sin mark could it speak and communicate using spirit sense. Even though it could not speak to Ningfan, it hummed softly to him obediently. Its cries were filled with friendliness. It wanted to tell Ningfan that it did not harbor any hostility towards him. If that was the case, it would still be fine. However, it suddenly retracted its wings and prostrated itself in Ningfan's direction. It was obviously expressing its submission. Before Ningfan could react, the little purple-eyed peacock directly lifted its head and placed Ningfan on its head. Then, it carried Ningfan and neighed obediently. It was asking Ningfan to ride it and take it as his mount. Ningfan's eyes gradually turned gentle. He squatted down and stroked the fur on the top of the purple-eyed Nyeli's head. Its black and glossy fur was much softer and smoother than the black hair of a woman. It felt very comfortable to touch. "You want to submit to me?" Ningfan asked in a low voice. Shriek! The only thing that answered Ningfan was a sorrowful cry. It was as if it had thousands of words to tell Ningfan, but it could not say them. "I can't say them. The sin mark cannot be spoken." She had been waiting for a Fu Li with the royal bloodline to appear. However, she did not expect that a Fu Li with the ancestral bloodline would appear instead. So, after so many years, the Fu Li still existed in this world? Moreover, the Fu Li with the ancestral bloodline still exists. The Fu Li has yet to be annihilated. This is really great. Ningfan was the last member of the Fu Li clan. She would certainly protect him and protect the Fu Li bloodline. How is this possible? Wan Changkong was shocked. He could not understand how Ningfan could subdue the Nyeli who was at the 5-shattering realm so easily. Black Moon Divine Ability. It must be the Black Moon Divine Ability. His life puppet technique was unable to subdue these 5 evil puppets, but Ningfan's Black Moon Divine Ability was able to subdue them. This is bad. This Liu Bei's Black Moon Divine Ability is too powerful. Now that he has the help of the 5 shattering evil Li, how can I be his match? I must run. I must rendezvous with the Vine Sovereign first. Wan Changkong had already seen how strong the purple-eyed Nyeli was. His face was filled with fear. He immediately gave the 3-headed Nyeli an order and led it towards the exit of the bamboo world. You want to leave? Don't you think it's a little too late? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. Even though he did not know why the purple-eyed Nyeli had submitted to him, he could tell that it did not have any evil intentions towards him. It only wanted to protect him. It had submitted to him wholeheartedly. It was enough for him to know this. If it was before, Ning Fan would still be a little afraid of Wan Changkong and the 3-headed Nyeli. Now, however, he had the purple-eyed Nyeli's help. Why would he be afraid of Wan Changkong? Go. Let's go after Wan Changkong. Ning Fan beckoned to Ting Xianro and the 5 divine beasts, signaling them to get on the purple-eyed Nyeli and pursue Wan Changkong. The speed of this purple-eyed little peacock was extraordinary. It was probably 3 times faster than an ordinary 6-shattering realm cultivator. What surprised Ning Fan was that when Ting Xianro and the others wanted to get on the purple-eyed Nyeli's body, they were rejected by her. She gave off a strong gust of wind and blew them away. She was extremely arrogant. Allowing Ning Fan to ride her alone was already her limit. She would not allow anyone else to ride her. Forget it. You have been heavily injured from the battle with the tree demon. Come back and heal yourself first. Ning Fan seemed to have seen through her emotions. He kept Ting Xianro into his cauldron ring and the 5 puppets away. Since the purple-eyed Nyeli was unwilling to let others ride her, Ning Fan would give her some basic respect. With purple-eyed Evil Li's help, the injured Ting Xianro and Wu Nai didn't need to be sent out to fight for now. On the battlefield in the outside world, even the Vine Sovereign might not be a match for purple-eyed Evil Li. Let's go. It's just the 2 of us. Let's go after Wan Changkong. Shriek. The little purple-eyed peacock chirped obediently. Carrying Ning Fan on its back, it swirled up a purple-black demonic wind which made his face hurt. With just one swirl, they had already rushed out of the bamboo world. With another swirl, they had already passed through the void tunnel and appeared outside the eye of the void wind. Wan Changkong and the 3-headed evil beast had only just escaped from the eye of the void. As soon as Wan Changkong saw Ning Fan chasing after him on the Sinli beast, he was nearly scared to death. His embarrassment turned into anger as he yelled, "Liu Bei, why are you chasing after me? You already know the answer." Ning Fan touched his glabella. The Separation Slayer sword appeared in his hand and he pointed it at Wan Changkong from afar. As for the purple-eyed evil beast, it carried Ning Fan and dashed towards Wan Changkong's direction. That terrifying speed was not something that Wan Changkong could imagine or defend against. Not good. Currently, Wan Changkong could barely maintain his magic power. After fleeing for his life in a hurry, his magic power had almost been depleted. How could he withstand the destructive power of Ning Fan's sword? Purple light flashed and the sword light slashed vertically, splitting the sky into 2 halves. Then, one of Wan Changkong's divine incarnations was slashed vertically from the top of his skull. His physical body was forcefully split into 2 halves and he died on the spot. Wan Changkong's corpse was blown away by the void wind and suppressed by the sword light. Like a meteor, it fell from the sky. As soon as the 3-headed evil beast saw Wan Changkong's divine incarnation fall, it was greatly shocked and immediately fled downwards. How would it dare to fight against Ning Fan? The speed of the 3-headed evil beast escaping by burning its demon souls was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. While they were trying to escape on the ground, they also launched a series of attacks towards the sky, trying to stop Ning Fan and the purple-eyed evil beast from chasing after them. In Jishui City below, Lu Haoyue had already fallen into a bitter battle. Even though the Bamboo Sovereign had the help of 6 Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Lu Palace, he was still on the verge of death under the joint attack of 17 Void Fragmentation Realm experts. The Bamboo Sovereign's eyes were filled with despair. That despair was because the 4th evil beast had already been unsealed. Currently, he was no longer a match for the Vine Sovereign and the others. After the fourth evil beast joined the battle, the Vine Sovereign's side would gain the upper hand. Lu Haoyue's face was also as gloomy as still water. Currently, he had suffered many injuries on his body. However, he was still able to resist the joint attacks of the Vine Sovereign and the two Void Fragmentation Realm experts on his own. However, he was well aware that he could still deal with two Void Fragmentation Realm experts. If a third Void Fragmentation Realm expert comes, he would certainly die in the hands of the Vine Sovereign. Lu Haoyue, I respect you for being a man. If you obediently allow me to plant a restriction on you and take you as my servant and guard, I can let you go and only kill the Bamboo Sovereign. I will spare your life. The Vine Sovereign tried to attack his mind. I don't mind dying, but I will never kneel and beg for mercy. Lu Haoyue raised his head and laughed hysterically. You're courting death. All four evil beasts have been unsealed. Since you are so stubborn, the moment the four evil beasts descend upon you will be the moment of your death. The Vine Sovereign sneered. My divine clone has successfully unsealed the evil beasts. All of you no longer have the power to reverse the situation. Why don't you just accept your fate and accept your death? At least you won't die too badly. All 10 of Wan Changkong's divine clones sneered. At this moment, a heavy object that carried boundless bloody aura was carried by the void wind and sword qi. It fell from the sky and landed on the ground of Jishui City, creating a 10,000 zhang large pit. When Wan Changkong saw the object that fell from the pit, he could no longer laugh. Instead, he was filled with rage and shock. The Vine Sovereign was also shocked when she saw the object that fell from the sky. It was because the object that fell into Jishui City was actually the corpse of Wan Changkong's divine clone that was split into two. Wan Changkong's divine clone that was responsible for unsealing the evil beasts was actually killed by someone with a single slash. Who is so audacious to actually kill Wan Changkong's divine clone? Before the Vine Sovereign could figure out what was going on, 3 rays of purplish-black light descended from the sky. They were fleeing for their lives in fear. The 3 rays of light that were fleeing were actually 3 evil beasts. Each of them had a powerful cultivation base at the 3rd or 4th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Why were they fleeing for their lives? Behind the 3 rays of light, there was another ray of light that was chasing after them. It was a black-robed young man. His eyes were as cold as a devil's. He stood proudly on the head of the ferocious evil beast and was chasing after the 3 evil beasts. How is this possible? The Bamboo Sovereign was shocked. He recognized that the black-robed young man was none other than Ning Fan. Ning Fan, who he used to look down upon, was currently crushing the evil beasts that were at the 5th heavenly layer and chasing after the 3 evil beasts that were at the 3rd and 4th heavenly layer. It's him. Brother Ning. He really exceeds my expectations time and time again. Lu Haoyue laughed heartily. His laughter was extremely carefree. He could vaguely guess that Wan Changkong's clone was killed by Ning Fan. He also knew that Ning Fan and the Vine Sovereign had a grudge that would never end until one of them dies. Even though he did not know how Ning Fan managed to subdue a broken 5 evil beast as his helper, his arrival was definitely the biggest variable in the great calamity of the Eastern Trees see today. If he comes, he will certainly become the Vine Sovereign's enemy. If he joins forces with the Bamboo and Willow Palaces, they will certainly be able to turn the situation around. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. My old friend did not deceive me. Blue Bay, Blue Bay, Blue Bay, why did you come here? Why did you come and obstruct my great plan? The helper of the broken 5 evil beast that the Vine Sovereign had been looking forward to for a long time was subdued by Ning Fan and used as his mount to hunt down the other evil beasts. How could the Vine Sovereign not be angry? If he has the help of the broken 5 evil beast, he could destroy the Bamboo and Willow Palaces and unify the entire tree world. However, the broken 5 evil beast had turned against Ning Fan and Willow Palaces and turned against him. Without a doubt, Ning Fan would definitely join forces with the Bamboo and Willow Palaces to attack the Vine Palace. What are you doing here? What exactly do you want to do by coming here? The Vine Sovereign was filled with anger. When she recalled Du Yu's death, she hated Ning Fan even more and wished that she could kill him on the spot. Facing the Vine Sovereign's anger, Ning Fan just said coldly, "I came here to send you to your death. Sending the monarch to his death, sending you to your death. Today, all the grudges in the past will be settled. From today onwards, the Vine Palace will no longer have a Vine Sovereign." How could this be? In Jishui City, Tang Yuan was hiding under the protection of the Fusong clan, avoiding the attacks of the wild creatures in the city. Her current position was right below Ning Fan. In the past, she despised Ning Fan and said that he was a coward who was afraid of by Li King. However, the current Ning Fan was not even afraid of the Vine Palace. He even dared to fight the Vine Sovereign when the Bamboo Palace was in danger. He was not a coward. He just disdained taking unnecessary risks. He was not weak. If he gets angry, he would even dare to fight the Vine Sovereign. This is the real him. I was mistaken. Tang Yuan let out a faint sigh. No wonder he always looked at me with disdain. That's right. Why should he take a second look at a short-sighted, unruly and willful woman like me? Even the divine sovereign of the tree world like the Vine Sovereign was not worthy of his attention. I'm sorry. I'm willing to make up for my previous offense. I just hope that you can save the Bamboo Palace and the Eastern Tree Sea. Tang Yuan prayed silently. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.